Sorry for the long disappearance. I will be back to posting pretty regularly now. Summary: the Sage of Six Paths gave Naruto the eye technique which even he was unable to master. Naruto is now 16 years old and wields Eternal Rinnegan with mastery in sealing and sage arts. Will it be enough to take down the group with black cloaks and red clouds? Naruto Powerful Naruto, Godlike Naruto. Chapter 1. Getting an Invincible Gift. It was an exhausting morning for our hero because Jiraiya was busy with his so-called research, and Naruto was training alone in outer region of a forest. It was second week of his training trip with Jiraiya, and he was working hard to become stronger so that he can return and protect his precious people in Konoha. It was true that he succeeded in bringing the traitorous Uchiha back to the village. We all know who this traitor is, right? After a long fight at the Valley of the End which resulted in a very exhausted Naruto and a half-dead Sasuke, the Uchiha prodigy. Now Sasuke was a Chunin and was always under Ambu's sight. Tsunade never tried to stop Naruto as she knew that this trip was very important for the future of both Naruto and Konohagakure no Sato. Now, it was clear that Naruto was overexerting himself as sweat was clearly visible on his forehead and his muscles were twitching under the pressure of the Nine Tails chakra cloak. Naruto was trying to control third-tailed state of Demon Fox's cloak and had nearly completed it. Suddenly that damn fox took over. His muscles started to scream under the tremendous strain and his skin started to peel, resulting in his blood to flow in the cloak and turn it from bright red to crimson in color. His eyes that were red with black slits before now turned pure white, and even his fangs and claw turned blood red. A disturbance occurred at the end of his spine, and slowly but surely another tail started to grow and join the three already present. He entered fourth-tailed state and lost control over his body. Soon Naruto found himself in the sewer of his subconscious mind where the cage of Kyuubi was situated. Naruto got angry on seeing Kyuubi grinning like a madman inside cage. Having enough of the stupid fox, he became more furious and said, "Oh, you damn fox, what are you grinning at? Just give me the control of my body back and I will not hurt you." Kyuubi roared and said, "You damn fool, who are you mortal to talk to me like that? The great Kyuubi no Kitsune." Naruto said fuming, "I am your jailer, dumbass fox. Like you can even touch me, insect. Ha 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 ha. I can crush you with just a claw of mine, and you will start screaming for mercy due to the pain." Kyuubi said, "Oh yeah, then why don't you try killing me now? Let's see how you kill me when I am on this side of the Sealbaka fox." "Enough. Now you know why you are still alive, kid. Just because if you die, I die does not mean I cannot harm you, and you can't even dare to cross this cage bars." "He cannot cross the cage bars, but I can. Right, Kurama?" A voice came from behind Naruto. Naruto turned around surprised, unconsciously stumbling back to the Kyuubi's cage. On realizing where he was and what the fox could do to him, he looked in fear at Kyuubi's face. Kyuubi was looking in the direction of the mysterious figure with narrowed eyes. What Kyuubi did next surprised even Naruto as it used one of its tails and pulled Naruto in the middle of its front paws. The tail then wrapped around Naruto in a protective manner. From the dark side of the mindscape, an old man with Maganas all over his clothing stepped out of the dark. Smiling, Kyuubi's eyes widened and he whispered to himself, "SSH." This was noticed by Naruto, and noticing the stutter in Kyuubi's voice, he asked the old man, "Hi old man, you seem to have quite an effect on this baka of a fox. Why is it stuttering in front of you? And who are you? And how did you get here in my mind?" And calm down, Naruto, my boy. You can ask all of your questions one by one. There is no need to ask all of them in one breath. After all, none of us is in a hurry, right? The old man said, smiling at Naruto. "Oh, okay, so first thing first, who are you?" asked Naruto. "Have you ever heard about the Sage of Six Paths, father of all shinobi, jutsus, and of course bijus?" asked the old man. "I have, but I don't know much as I never paid much attention to history or theory lectures in academy," answered Naruto, a bit confused and ashamed to his confession. "Well, I am that sage. The Sage of the Six Paths, the great Sannin of all times and also father of Kurama, or as you call him, Kyuubi." Naruto turned his at Kyuubi and started grinning at the greatest biju. Finally, he said, "I found your father, Kyuubi. Now I will make him punish you for your behavior towards me and Konoha." The Sannin laughed a little while Kyuubi just stared at Naruto, ready to kill him just by staring. Now, I am here to give you a gift. Something from me on your 14th birthday, little Naruto," said the Sannin. Now Naruto remembered that today was October 10th, his 14th birthday. He quickly asked, "What is this gift? Please tell me, what is it?" "It is the first gift I will ever get on my birthday." The Sannin said, "First, I am here because you're entered fourth-tailed state of your Bija cloak, and yes, there is a gift for you. I have been watching you for some time. Your battle at the Valley of End was really breathtaking. So I decided to give you my eyes, Naruto. Now Naruto was disgusted. I don't want your eyes. I have mine, and I don't want to make someone blind because of me. Naruto immediately sat down and unconsciously pulled Kyuubi's tail around him for warmth, much to the irritation of the said Biju. It is called Eternal Rinnegan. I used it in making all 9 Bijus and distributing the power of the Jubi. It takes a lot of user's chakra to remain active and leaves the user unconscious for at least a week, but you already have Kurama inside of you. This limitation will not act on you. Now Naruto was curious as well as excited. The Sannin continued, Naruto, these eyes will give you immense power, and you will be able to learn every jutsu just by seeing it once, even bloodline jutsus and dojutsus like Byakugan and Sharingan, better known as the Kekkei Jinkai. Naruto asked, are there any side effects because I hate hospital? He said, pouting. The sage said, no, there is no side effect of this dojutsu, and I will be training you in your mindscape to control it easily when you will be sleeping, as your body will be resting, and you will be training here with me. Also, I am giving you these scrolls. They contain jutsus and dojutsus I have seen until now that you can read them here in your mindscape, and Kurama will help you with them. Right, Kurama? Hi, father, was the reply of Kyuubi from behind. The Kyuubi was nodding nonstop as he became more and more excited. The Sannin then placed his both hands on Naruto's shoulders and made an eye contact with him and said, okay, Naruto, this will hurt a lot, but the pain is worth it. The power that comes with it is beyond your wildest dream. So ready. When Naruto hesitantly nodded, the sage started pouring his chakra in Naruto's eyes. Naruto started screaming with all his might and tried to cry because of pain, but his tears betrayed him as his eyes were not under his control. Finally, his body gave up, and he fainted in Sage's arms. After some time, Arg was the first thing Naruto muttered after he gained his consciousness. So you are finally awake, huh? I thought I overdid it when you fainted, came the Sannin's voice from behind him. Naruto turned to face the sage and asked, is it done? The Sannin simply nodded and said that your traveling partner is approaching. Tell him everything and only those who you trust. Ask him to teach you sage art, and tell that I said that you are ready for it as well as for the secret of your heritage as well. Chapter 2. Return of the New Sage. Jiraiya was in a bar, trying to get some material for his latest novel of Ika Ika Paradise when suddenly he felt a huge wave of chakra wash over him. Over all this mess, and was coming from Naruto's direction. Kami, don't tell me, was Jiraiya's thoughts as he sprinted towards Naruto's location. After running for 5 minutes, he reached the corner of forest and saw Naruto in his fourth-tailed state, but something is off. Cubified Naruto was standing there like a statue. Just the 4 tails at his back were swaying peacefully in all directions. Jiraiya knew that maybe Naruto was practicing 4-tailed state, but way so calmly? It was not a trait of Naruto to stay calm, especially while training. So he reached up to him and was about to use chakra suppression seal on him when suddenly all the red chakra vanished and Naruto gained his consciousness. After that, the whole day was spent in explaining everything to Jiraiya, and to Naruto's surprise, Jiraiya believed him instantly. After asking as to why he believed so easily, Jiraiya told him that all the things that Naruto told him were correct, and he knew that was not smart enough to make such kind of story. After hearing this, Naruto pouted, but soon forgot about it as Jiraiya started to tell him about his father, Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, and his mother Kushina Izumaki, the Red Death of Konoha. Jiraiya also told him that he will now start teaching him Hiraishin and Sage arts, as he was not an expert in Sage art, and he definitely was not capable of performing Hiraishin, but he knew a lot about Hiraishin. And now, it was Naruto's 16th birthday, and he was now youngest sage ever to walk on Earth. He was now perfect in Hiraishin, thanks to his increased intelligence, and now wore an exact copy of his father's clothes, just that instead of yellow flash on his back, there was a kanji for second yellow flash. He was now awesome looking, as now girls who look at him used to become tomato. Right now, he was on his way to his home village, Konohagakure, with Jiraiya. When they reached the gates of Konoha, the guards fainted on seeing Yondaime return to their village. Naruto paid no attention to them and keep on walking with a stern look on his face, but Jiraiya knew what made the guards to fainted, and he laughed in his head at their reaction towards left to meet for his apartment after saying that he will be at Hokage's office in an hour, or chuckled and started planning his research in Konoha's hot springs. After reaching his apartment, he took a quick shower and decided to pay a visit to Ichiraku's ramen stand. Now, our hero was roaming in the streets of Konoha when he heard something. On turning around, he saw a lot of girls stalking him, and many older women fainted on seeing an exact image of Yondaime in him. Suddenly, he felt a hand on his shoulder, and as he turned, he found himself looking at green eyes of a girl with pink hairs. Hey, my name is Sakura. I am a kunoichi of Konoha, and as I can see from your Hittite, you are a shinobi of Konoha too. Who are you? Holy shit, he is as hot as Sasuke-kun said and thought the girl respectively. On seeing his long-lost crush, he clenched his fists and said, "That's none of your business, Haruno," and continued his walk. Huh, was Sakua's response as he left. On his walk, he again started noticing the look of respect given to him by some villagers and some blushes directed towards him. He was almost at Ichiraku when he remembered what happened 3 years ago to make him overcome his crush on Sakura. Flashback no jutsu. It was raining heavily and Sakura and Kakashi were waiting for Naruto's return, while Kakashi was waiting for Naruto whereas Sakura was waiting for her Kun. We all know who. As a figure emerged from horizon, after some time they could see that it was Naruto carrying Sasuke on his back. A Chidori wound can be seen on his left side of chest. He was fully exhausted and very much soaked in his own blood. On reaching the gates, Sakura snatched Sasuke from Naruto and started to cry. Only Kakashi came to support Naruto on his legs. "Don't worry, Sakura-chan. He is alive, and stay away from my Sasuke-kun, you demon." But Sakura-chan, I just shut up. You nearly killed my Sasuke-kun. Everyone in the village is right. You are really a true evil demon, and I hate you. Never show me your face again, you murderer. You are a shame to our village as well as to all the shinobi of the world. Now get out of here before I ask the council to execute you, bastard. Next day, Naruto was gone his 3-year-long training trip with Jiraiya. Flashback no jutsu. Kai. He was brought back to the real world by Lee and Tintin. Youthful Lee and a blushing Tintin would be more correct. "Hey, you youthful-looking man. I have never seen you in this village. Are a spy or something?" asked Lee, ready to fight at confirmation of his question. "Yeah, we have never seen you before even when you were a Konoha Hatayate," said Tintin now curiously. "But I have seen you both and have spent some time in your company, Lee and Tintin," said Naruto, trying to hide grin. "How do you know our name, you unyouthful spy?" shouted Lee. "Oh, so you forget me, my rival Lee. I see. You have become very beautiful too, Ten-chan," said Naruto, now grinning widely. "Naruto, I don't believe this," said both Chunin in unison. "Oh, now you recognize me. Hey, nice to meet you," said Naruto. "Naruto, you look very youthful, my eternal rival," shouted Lee, bouncing with excitement. "Naruto-kun, you look quite handsome," said Tintin, blushing. "Oh, not this, Ten-chan. I am sick of these. Every woman in the village is either blushing or fainting on seeing me." "What happened to the ladies of this village?" said Naruto, confused. Tintin was now hiding her red face in her shirt, and Lee was bouncing and shouting about how his eternal rival is back in the village. "Hey, Naruto-kun, would you like to come to our little Rookie 9 gathering this evening at Kadatsu restaurant? You know today is Kyubi Festival, your birthday, so both of us would like to invite you to if you can spare some time for it from your training time," asked Tintin with a look of hope in her eyes. "Of course, how can I deny a request of such a beauty as you, Tin-chan? I will be there," said Naruto, kissing Tintin's hand. Tintin now looked like she took a bath of red water, maybe blood. "Okay, YOSH Naruto, we will wait for you. It'll be a surprise for other rookies, okay? OH and our former senseis will be there too," again shouted youthful Lee. After some more conversation, Lee and Tintin left. Well, again, a youthful Lee and a blushing red Tintin left will be more appropriate. Naruto went to Ichiraku's and again was forced to see a blushing Ayame and a surprised Tsuchi Ichiraku. 1 hour later, Naruto entered Hokage's office with a blushing Shizen behind him. He just encountered Shizen outside the office and got the same reaction from her as the other women of the village. Tsunade and Jiraiya were sitting on Hokage chair and window panel respectively. On seeing him, Tsunade bounced from her chair and nearly hugged him to death by her superhuman strength, thanks to Jiraiya and Shizen, who somehow managed to separate them from the hug. So in this way the meeting began and lasted for 2 hours as Tsunade and Shizen were trying to extract every single memory of their trip out of their minds just like Inoichi and Ibiki. In the end, Naruto was receiving glares of astonishment. So he simply went back to his apartment to get ready for the Rookie 9 gathering in the evening. It will be fun to meet everyone again after so long, and of course seeing their faces on seeing me will be awesome. Hehehe. Chapter 3. The Rookie 12 Gathering. Kadatsu Restaurant. There was everyone present there. Kakashi, Asuma, Guy, Kurenai, Anko surprisingly, Team 10, Team 9, Team 8, and what was remaining of Team 7. They have booked the whole restaurant for the gathering, so you can only see some restaurant staff and some customers who were there to buy some food for their home. Naruto was on his way to the restaurant when he saw that Ayame was struggling to clean the counter before closing, as it was the Kyubi festival night and every citizen was gone in the celebration. He reached up to her and said, "Ayame-chan, what a lovely lady like you is doing this fine evening. It doesn't suit you. Ayam jumped in surprise, but some relaxed on recognizing the voice of the new handsome Naruto whose good looks have occupied her mind from the morning, and she was guessing that she will soon start having wet dreams about him. She turned and said, "Oh, it's you, Naruto. I was just cleaning the counter so that we can close for today. Today is the Kyubi festival and we know about its relation to you as you told us so. We were going home after closing because we don't feel like celebrating when we know your pain." Naruto was now very happy as he was now around people who cared for him and his feelings, so he made his mind and said, don't worry, Ayam-chan, I am happy that you take care for me and my feelings, and as a return gift, here you go." With that said, he made 3 Kage Bunshins and ordered them to clean the shop, and then turned to Ayam and said, "So, now that you are free, would you like to join me to the Rookie 9 gathering party at Kadatsu restaurant as my special guest Ayam-chan?" He stretched his arm and looked at her, waiting for an answer. She blushed a bit and said, "Sure in Naruto Keikuin," and with that she hesitantly took his hand and started walking with him. They talked about changes in Konoha when his was gone and what was he doing in these last 3 years out of the village. They reached the restaurant, and as they entered, Naruto was tackled by another blonde. "Hey hottie, what are you doing here?" said the new blonde female, sitting on his stomach, holding his face and neck. "Well, I was invited to our gathering, Ino-chan. And by the look of it I am on time, right?" said Naruto, removing himself from under Ino. "Hey, how do you know my name? And who invited you to our gathering?" asked, now confused Ino, as everyone looked up to the new arrivals. "Oh, Ino, he knows all of us, and I and Lee invited him here," said Tintin from her table at the other side of the restaurant. "You, how dare you enter our gathering? Are you stalking me or something?" asked the pink-haired Sakura from Sasuke's side. "I am not blind to stalk someone as ugly as you when there are beauties like Ino-chan in this village." "Forehead," said Naruto calmly. Ino blushed a bit at being called beautiful by a handsome man like him. "Okay, but still, who is this hottie anyway? I never saw him in our village. Instead of he is wearing a Konoha Hatayate," asked Ino. "Oh, I see. I just left for 3 years and you all forget me, huh? You know that hurts," said Naruto, pouting. Ino's eyes grew wide as well as everyone's on recognizing the blonde in front of them. "Naruto," shouted Ino as she again hugged him tightly. "I see. You are training under Bachan as your grip is exactly like here. Now will you please release me as I am out of air?" he said, struggling to breathe. Ino, realizing it, jumped back from him and started to blush. After some relaxing conversation with everyone, excluding Sasuke and Sakura, Naruto was pulled to girls' table where they started asking questions about his trip and secretly admiring his looks. Naruto was answering questions of Ino, Hinata, Tintin, well, mostly Ino as she was the gossip queen, while Ayam was just blushing with Hinata on seeing his smile. Sasuke and Sakura were sitting on the neighboring table when suddenly Sasuke said, "Hey dope." Naruto didn't responded, so he again said, "Hey you dope." Naruto again didn't responded, but it was clear that he heard him, and now all the girls were looking at Sasuke, who was glaring at Naruto, and Naruto, who was smiling at them. Suddenly Sasuke shouted, "Hey dope, aren't you listening to me?" "Dope," and Sakura shouted, "Yeah, you baka. Why aren't you listening to Sasuke-kun?" and tried to punch Naruto on his head when he caught her hand in the air. Sasuke now shouted with anger, "Hey you dope, how dare you ignore me, the great Uchiha prodigy, you will pay for this DOP." His sentence was left incomplete as a fist collided with his face, and he was sent flying into a nearby table where Sakura was tripped by a leg and landed on her but right beside Sasuke. "Don't you dare call me that again, you piece of shit, because the next time you said that, I will use my chakra in that punch. Same goes for you, bitch," said Naruto calmly, standing at his table with hands crossed in front of his chest and giving Gaara's typical pose. "You will pay for that dope," shouted Sasuke, emerging from the broken pieces of wooden furniture. He ran towards Naruto and kicked him on his neck with his full force, but surprisingly Naruto didn't even blink. This time Naruto used a finger and thrusted it in Sasuke's chest, who cried in pain and fell to his knees in front of Naruto. "Sasuke, stop being so hateful or I will have to kill you," said Naruto. "Huh? Like you can kill me? You were not able to kill me back then, and you are not capable of killing me now. I am a Chunin unlike you who is still a Genin," said Sasuke. "Oh, it seems you forgot which one of us traveled back to Konoha on his own and which one of us was carried back here. I was easily capable of killing you at that time as well, and you know that, Uchiha. It was I who dismissed my Rasengan at the last point to avoid killing you, and it was I who took your Chidori on my chest. I allowed you to live just because I promised that I will bring you back alive to that pink-haired bitch of yours standing there, and what I got? I was called Demon for bringing you alive, and I am going to rectify that mistake of mine if you keep on acting like that in front of me." It seems that Kakashi and other senseis didn't tell you guys, huh? Hey Kakashi, do me a favor and enlighten this pest. Will you? Said Naruto, motioning towards Kakashi. Hi, senpai, said Kakashi, making everyone confused as to why he called Naruto senpai. Kakashi came forward and said, Sasuke, even if you are a Chunin, Naruto is a Jonin as he passed Chunin exams in Kumo, and after 2 months of becoming Chunin, he gave Jonin exams in Kiri, and on considering the gap between his promotions, he was promoted to Elite Jonin, and that's why I called him senpai as he outranks me as well. Everyone was shocked on hearing Naruto's rank. Sasuke, you rank C in the bingo book of IWA, but Naruto is ranked above S and nearly an SS rank shinobi of Konoha, said Asuma. Naruto is clearly more powerful than any of us, that's for sure, said Kurenai. And his blood tastes better than any of you, said Anko, smiling. Why, Osage? Naruto's flames of youth burns as bright as mine, and Lee's shouted Guy. So what? I will tell the council to strip him from his rank for attacking me. An elite Uchiha, said Sasuke, smirking. Oh, poor Sasuke, do you know that there are clans in Konoha who are higher in rank than Uchiha? Asked Naruto smilingly. Yeah, they are the clans of Hokages, so what? Said a pissed Sasuke. Too bad for you, as I am a member of one of them, said Naruto calmly. Oi baka, just because Tsunade-sama takes you as her son doesn't mean you are related to Hokages, shouted Sakura, now standing with a smirking Sasuke. Oh, is that so? Well, let me introduce me again briefly. Inuzumaki Naruto Namikaze, son of the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze aka Yellow Flash of Konoha, and Kushina Izumaki aka Red Death of Konoha, godson of Saiyans. Jiraiya and Tsunade, a grandson figure for same-dame Hokage, Jinchuriki of Kyuubi Inai Kitsune. Nice to meet you all, he said, smiling and flashing his copyright grin. Huh, that was a nice try, Baka, but we don't believe you. You were lying, right, sensei? Said Sakura. No, Sakura, Naruto is telling the truth. He is the son of my sensei, Yondaime Hokage, Konoha's hero. To say that everyone was trying to find their jaws on the floor will be an understatement. So what? I am the last Uchiha. The council will do anything I say, said Sasuke, trying to conceal his shock and trying hard to maintain his stoic face. You will be the last Uchiha for the village and second last Uchiha for the Fire Country, including Uchiha Itachi, but for the world. You are the third last Uchiha, as the true leader of Akatsuki is an Uchiha who helped Itachi in cleaning this village from those arrogant Uchihas. Yes, he is Uchiha Madara, Kakashi. He is Uchiha Obito in disguise who calls himself Uchiha Madara. And as long as I am considered, I am the last heir of both Uzumaki and Namikaze clans because I am the last member, or at least last male member of these clans, so you can guess who will be supported by your precious council, said Naruto, this time smirking. Not if I kill you first, said Sasuke, activating his Sharingan with 3 tomos. That lowly technique of yours will not work on me, Uchiha. I have the most powerful Dojutsu in the world, by which I have already defeated your brother twice in these last 3 years, said Naruto lazily. Oh yeah, then let's watch this Dojutsu of yours, dope, said Sasuke. Nah, you are not worthy enough to even see it, and you don't even have Manjikyu Sharingan. It would be my Dojutsu's insult to be seen by a scum like you, team, as you are no prodigy. It was Itachi who was the real prodigy of the Uchiha clan, and I have already defeated him, and I don't need to prove anything to you, so shut your mouth and behave like one behaves in front of his or her superiors, as I am one for you, said Naruto, turning to others and then saying again that, okay, so tomorrow is the announcement of my heritage and certain other news about me and future, so all of you, except my 2 ex-teammates, are invited by me on the top of the Hokage Tower at the backstage. I am having a short celebration there before the announcement, and Kiba, don't worry. I am throwing a full-blown party at my new house, the Namikaze estate, tomorrow night, and you all should be there. I insist, except my ex. He trailed off in the end of his sentence, rolling his eyes. Did you just said Namikaze estate? You mean the one in the northern outer region of Konoha? Asked Kiba with hearts in his eyes. Oh, I see. You have seen my family mansion. That's right, that's the one, so what? Any problem with that? Said / asked Naruto with a brow narrowed. No, nothing is wrong. It's just that estate is the only one which is ranked higher than Uchiha compound in wealth, security, area, and incredible training grounds, said Kiba, much to Sasuke's jealousy. I see, you are well informed, Kiba. At least now some thief of Jutsu stealing clans will think twice before breaking into my house, said Naruto, eyeing Sasuke. Well, I have to go, so see ya all later. Until then, ja-in-e, Naruto said, and then quickly disappeared in the air and reappearing behind Chan, shall we go? He asked, surprising the said girl, who said blushing, okay, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled and then placed a hand on her shoulder and then smiled to others and mouthed Tomorrow Hokage Tower and disappeared with Iam in thin air. Chapter 4. The Announcement and the Sudden Challenge. Naruto reached his apartment late that night after eating a lot of ramen at Ichiraku's and found that the door of his apartment was open. He suspiciously entered the apartment, a kunai held tightly in his left hand whereas his right hand was curved to make a ram seal. There was a note stabbed by a kunai on the inside of his front door. He carefully took it down from the wall, making sure that there was no explosive tag connected to it in any way. He opened it and read, Naruto-kun, we are very happy on your return and thus thought to give you a return gift. So we managed to enter your apartment, sorry for the broken bedroom window, and cleaned it for you as we know you are always out for your intense training thus. You can now have a clean environment. Oh shit, we forgot that you are shifting to the Namikaze estate. Anyways, your cupboard is filled with instant ramen, and it contains all ramen flavors. Well, at least those we are aware of, so please accept our little welcome back gift, and again, sorry for the window. We will meet you tomorrow at Hokage Tower. Ino, Hinata, Tenten. Naruto smiled and placed his kunai back in his pocket. Yeah, tomorrow will be fun. Too much fun indeed. It was morning in Konoha, and everyone was going on their jobs, etc., but one thing was common. Everyone was thinking, why had Hokage called a village assembly? Hell, even a few ENBU members tripped on their own legs while thinking about it. Konoha Council Chambers, 8:39 a.m. Is this true that you have found Yondaime-sama's son Hokage-sama? Because as far as we know, he never became father as Kushina-sama was killed before the birth of the child, said a council member. Yes, it is true that we have found Minato's son. We never lost him in the first place. It was a SS-ranked secret that only Hokages were allowed to know and tell. And no, Kushina gave birth to their son before being killed by the Kyuubi. He is already a Konoha Jonin at the age of 16 and is still climbing ranks, says he will get a promotion today as well, said Tsunade smirking. She was proud of Naruto and was feeling a motherly joy for him at the time. Did you just say that he will get a promotion today? But he is already a Jonin at 16 according to you, and there is no rank above Jonin in Konoha Shinobi forces other than Sannin. So what promotion will he be given today then? Asked another civilian council member. You will see that in the village assembly today where I will reveal his heritage, Tsunade said. Then where is he now? Asked Sakura Haruno, Sakura's mother who was also a civilian council member. He will be here any. Was Tsunade's reply, which was shortly cut by Naruto, who said, Hey Bachan, why did you call me here? What are you doing here, demon? Get out of here now, you trash. We don't want to let you meet Yondaime's son. OH. Well, you can't. Even if you try that, as for the reason, Bachan here will tell you. You useless civilian, said Naruto smirking. He disrespected me. ANBU execute him now for disrespecting a council member, shouted the same civilian again. Sorry, but we can't do that, said an ANBU while other ANBUs nodded in agreement. That's right. They can't execute a Namikaze just because he told a civilian his place in a shinobi village, said Tsunade, waiting to see everyone's reactions on the fact that she just referred to him as a Namikaze. Everyone processed the information, and then Sakura Haruno shouted, You are disrespecting Yondaime-sama by telling us that this demon is his son. Just because you have mercy for this demon doesn't give you any right to spread false rumors. We all know there is no way he is Yondaime's son. He was, is, and always will be the demon that killed our beloved Yondaime Hokage. Other civilian members nodded, whereas shinobi clan leaders can now put two and two together, and realization dawned on them. But we can tell that Yondaime-sama would have never asked anyone to give their child for the sealing of the Kyuubi, and thus he would have definitely chosen his own son for the task, said Shikakanara. Well, that doesn't prove he is his son, said Sakaru for the civilian side of the council. But we can't just avoid the exact resemblance of Yondaime and Naruto. Now can we? Said Inoichi Yamanaka. We don't believe that, said a civilian. I knew you will not believe this. That is why I have Sandaime-sama's personal diary with every secret about Naruto and Yondaime, said Tsunade. We know that Sandaime-sama loved this demon very much, so he can write lies about him, and thus it do not prove anything, said Sakaru, smirking and thinking that she won. Then you leave me no choice, Jiraiya. Bring in the last scroll left by Yondaime inside the council chamber. She ordered Jiraiya, who was standing outside the council chamber just in case if he was needed inside. Jiraiya came inside with a scroll in his hand and handed it to Tsunade. She showed it to all the council, and then said, As you all can see and know that this scroll has Yondaime's personal seal, which means it was sealed by Yondaime himself, and it is not a fake one. Everyone nodded at this. She continued, We were trying to open it for years so that we can get some knowledge about Kyuubi's attack, but sadly it can only be opened by the blood of Yondaime or his child who has his blood in his veins. No, Naruto, will you please come forward and wipe some of your blood on this seal over here so that we can see that whether you are really Yandame's son or not. At this, Naruto came forward and bit his thumb and swiped it on the seal present on the scroll. It glowed for a while, and then it opened the scroll to the shock of everyone in the council. Naruto, this is your parents' scroll, thus you should see its content first, Tsunade said, and handed it over to Naruto. Now officially Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. There was a letter from his parents and some papers. He handed over the papers to Tsunade, who started reading them aloud. I am Minato Namikaze, Konoha's Yellow Flash and Yandame Hokage. Today is October 10th and Kyuubi is doing its rampage on Konoha. During the birth of our only son Naruto, Kushina's seal became loose and a masked man appeared and broke the seal and used Sharingan to control Kyuubi. I managed to defeat him and cancel out his control on Kyuubi, but he managed to escape. I summoned Shinigami and used my own son to seal it because he had Uzumaki blood in him. I wish that after my death, Naruto is considered as a hero who keeps Kyuubi inside him and saves everyone from its wrath, but have a feeling that it will not happen, and for that I am truly sorry, son. I am giving the Namikaze and Uzumaki estate to him, and all my money as well as my knowledge to him. Keep the Namikaze name always in fame, my son, and again I am sorry for this burden. I truly love you from my heart, and wish for your well-being. Minato Namikaze, Yandame Hokage. Now Naruto was in tears, and he clenched on the letters from his parents more tightly. Tsunade smiled and said, now that it is proved that he is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, I am giving him his parents' property and money. Also as the promotion, I am announcing him as my successor for the title of Hokage. Naruto, to test your leadership skills, I am giving you AMBU Black Ops. They will now work under your command, and only I will have the power to cancel any of your orders. You will become a council member as my successor as well as Namikaze and Uzumaki clan's head. Now any questions? Yes. Now that he is the last Uzumaki and Namikaze, he will be a candidate for CRA, right? Asked Sakura Haruno, planning to patch up him with Sakura. Yes, I forgot. Yes, I have discussed this CRA thing with him, and Naruto said that he will only have 5 wives at tops, and at least 2 of them will not be from any clans. So he will choose them on his own, and all we can do is suggest some to him. Also, as when the word gets out about the return of Yandame's blood, there will be a flood of marriage proposals from other villages, so he will choose whether he will marry any of them or not. Now, any of you have any suggestion as for him, said Tsunade. Sakura saw the opportunity and said, yes, he should be married to my daughter Sakura. Now Naruto was pissed. He said, there is no way in the hell I will marry that Uchiha slut. I will better kill myself than to marry that bitch. Here I was thinking of banning her from Namikaze district, and now you say this. Don't say that name in front of me ever again. It was then that he noticed that nearly all the clan members had their hands up for the suggestions. He just said that he will be off now and went back to his estate. Tsunade then ended the meeting telling that in the afternoon she will make the announcements. Afternoon. Same day, Hokage Tower. There was a lot of crowd in front of the Hokage Tower. Everyone was confused because there were decorations as if new Hokage was going to be selected. All of the friends of Naruto were standing there after attending the small celebration from Tsunade and Naruto. Naruto announced about the CRA thing, asked them if they knew anyone interested, they should inform him, and he will see what he can do. Now everyone was waiting for the announcements as Tsunade appeared above the Hokage Tower. She raised her hand and every villager stopped talking, and she gained attention of everyone. Tsunade started, as many of you will be thinking why this public gathering has been called. I must tell you that today I, Tsunade Senju, Godame Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, is going to reveal the biggest secret of our village to you all. At this, whispers started but stopped when she continued. Today, I am going to reveal the identity of our hero, Minato Namikaze, our Yandame Hokage's son, yes, his own blood and flesh. His son was born a few hours before his death. His wife Kushina Uzumaki gave birth to their son before her death, a son who was mistreated by our village for nearly 16 years. The boy who always proclaimed to become the greatest Hokage of Konoha, unknowingly walking on his father's footsteps. The boy whose own father, Yandame, was forced to seal Kyuubi within his own son. Yes, I am talking about him. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is the son of the Yandame Hokage. Sandame-sama kept it as a secret because his father made lots of enemies in the last war. On top of that, he is our village's only Jinchuriki, thus losing him would have resulted in Konoha's downfall. Thus he kept it a secret known to only a few. I have shown all the proofs to the council, both civilian and shinobi ones, and they have recognized him as the last heir of the Uzumaki as well as the Namikaze clans. At this, people have shame in their eyes, and their heads were down to the ground as they realized what they have done to their yandame's son for all those years. Tsunade smiled on seeing this and thought, at least they now regret their actions. She then continued, I have given him all the property of his parents, thus all the Uzumaki and Namikaze properties will be filed under his name. I am also proud to announce that I am declaring him my successor for the post of Rokudame Hokage, and from now on he is the commander of Konoha Ambu Black Ops. Naruto, will you please kind enough to come here? As she said that, there came Naruto out of thin air. He was wearing black ANBU pants and a Konoha Jonin vest with a coat, just like his father, of dark blue color with black flames at the bottom, with Uzumaki swirl on his left bicep and Namikaze lightning on his right bicep, with a kanji for Rokudame on his back. His long but surprisingly spiky hairs were in the same hairstyle as his father, and his blue eyes were shining in the sunlight. All in all, he was looking an exact copy of his father, excluding the color of his clothes. Many women were having nosebleeds as another women killer Namikaze appeared in the world, same as the yandame. Tsunade was smiling, and then she said, People of Konoha, I present you Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, your soon-to-be Rokudame Hokage. Is there anyone who wants to say something about the revelations made today? Yeah, I can easily defeat him, so you should announce me the next Hokage instead of him. After all, he is still the dead last of our year, said now revealed Sasuke Uchiha. Yes, Sasuke-kun can easily defeat that loser, said Sakura, standing beside Sasuke. Now whispers were again started among the villagers. Who should they choose? The last Uchiha, or the son of their hero Yandame? Suddenly Naruto said, gaining attention of everyone, all right team, if that's what you want then. He pulled out a kunai out of his pocket, which made everyone gasp at what it was. Naruto was holding the legendary 3 prolonged kunai, the Yandame's kunai to be accurate. He threw it at Sasuke, who jumped back to avoid being hit by it, but before the kunai could hit the ground, Naruto appeared beside it in a yellow flash and snatched the kunai from its mid-air projection. Now he was face to face with Sasuke, and everyone was gaping on both, seeing the famous Hiroshin again, and the killing intent coming from the blonde. That's what you will get. Hey Bachan, please organize a fight between me and all the rookies as well as their senseis and the top Ambu squad. I will be fighting them this evening in the stadium, if that's okay with this lowlife. Now Sasuke was pissed. He instantly charged to punch the blonde, but suddenly 4 Ambu appeared around Naruto with their swords drawn, ready to strike if needed to save their new commander. Sasuke stopped dead in his track as a 5th Ambu appeared behind him with his sword on the Uchiha's neck. Uchiha-san, it would be better if you do not attack the new Ambu commander in middle of the whole village and of course in presence of his Ambus. I will defeat you, dope, and then become Hokage. Then all the ninjas of this village will help me in killing Itachi. Just you watch. Oh come on team, you said the same thing at the Valley of N 3 years ago, and yet you were the one who returned unconscious. Don't you get tired of boasting, because I would have. Now take your gay ass away from me, because it will be kicked this even so hard that I doubt you will be able to sit properly for a week. Sasuke fumed and stomped back to Uchiha compound with a certain pink-haired banshee in tow. Okay everyone, this meeting is over and you all are invited at the stadium for the battle of Konoha Top Shinobi versus Rokudame. Dismissed, said Tsunade as she headed back in her office with a smiling face. But soon she will encounter another battle, or maybe war known as Hokage versus paperwork. Mwah. Naruto headed towards Ichiraku's ramen stand to fill his stomach before the fight. Murmurs can be heard throughout the village that even he was a Namikaze and a Jinchuriki, there were very slim chances of his victory against Konoha's best ninjas together, only if they knew. Evening, Chunin Exam Stadium, 5:55 p.m. All the stadium was full, and luckily the stadium had the capacity to hold more than Konoha's total population. All the council members and clan heads were in VIP area, and those who were supposed to fight in the battle against Naruto were also present in the arena. Naruto was yet to show up. I knew that Dope will be afraid to face a true Uchiha in a battle. That's why he ran off and not coming to fight me, said a certain duck-but-haired prick gay. Oh, I can go for all the paragraph for describing him, but you know who he is, that's why I will not write about it. Even if I would love to. Yes, Sasuke-kun is right. That loser is definitely afraid for his life. He is not coming. Why don't they just announce Sasuke-kun the next Hokage already? Guess who said that? Because I am the Rokudame, and I don't think a gay like Sasuke can take that position from me, came a voice from middle of the arena. There was a yellow flash, and there stood Naruto. He was not wearing his headband. He was wearing a black skin-tight pant with black boots. On his upper body, he was wearing a long black coat which went down to below his knees with a cut on back starting from lower waist to end of the coat. Front of the coat was open, showing his perfect torso and abs with a single button closed on his waist. Imagine shirtless Neo in Matrix Reloaded with single button closed. He turned around towards Tsunade and Jiraiya and signaled Jiraiya, who just nodded in response. Turning back to meet the gaze of his opponents, he quickly made some hand seals and then just said in normal tone, "Kuchiyos no Jutsu," and slammed his hand on the ground. Kakashi's eyes widened on seeing that Naruto didn't use any blood for summoning jutsu. Poof. When the smoke cleared, there stood a fox with blue eyes and pure white fur. It was carrying some scrolls on its back, which Naruto picked up and tossed one scroll to each of his opponents. Those are NOCs. According to these, if anything happens to any of you during the fight, I will not be held responsible, and by anything, I mean anything including death. He turned and pointed towards a corner where his summon was made a line on the ground and said, "If any of you wants to quit now, or during the match, you can cross that line and I will not attack you, but once you cross that line, then you cannot attack me as well because it is a barrier as well. Now shall we start?" Everyone in the crowd became silent as the match started. All the opponents of Naruto dropped into their respective fighting stances, whereas Naruto just stood there crossing his arms and said, "This match will have 7 back-to-back rounds. Before the round starts, I will call the name of the round, and then we will fight according to its name, okay?" Everyone nodded. And then Naruto said, "First round, Taijutsu." He vanished from their sight and appeared in front of Guy and Lee, kicking them in their stomach in a clean swipe, sending them flying in the walls of the stadium. Everyone's jaw dropped on the display of raw power from the blonde. Oh yeah, this is just the beginning. Chapter 5, The 7 Rounds Part 1. Just as Naruto kicked Guy and Lee, Shikamaru and Neji was on him along with Asuma and Kiba. So they are trying to corner me from the very beginning, huh? Well, let them try, thought Naruto. Naruto is too fast for my shadow possession to work on him, so we need to distract him somehow. Maybe Kiba can distract him with Akamaru, thought the guy with troublesome as his favorite word. Neji and Kiba started attacking the blonde from opposite directions, but suddenly their eyes widened when Naruto dropped in Hyuga's gentle fist stance. "What is the meaning of this, Naruto? You can't possibly know the gentle fist," said a shocked Neji as he stopped to contemplate on the situation. "And why is that, Neji?" said the blonde. "Because it's limited to the Hyugas only." "Yeah, but it's not like one can't learn it on their own by observing ninjas from your clan, right?" Now Neji was really shocked. Naruto was right. There was no law regarding that way of learning gentle fist. He was more surprised as Naruto said all this while defending against attacks of Kiba, Asuma, and Choji, who had joined the brawl. Naruto then changed his taijutsu form and dropped in the tiger stance and kicked Kiba right in the face, sending the boy straight in his companion Akamaru. The duo stopped rolling after a good 20 meters, and Kiba was now struggling to get up on his feet as his vision was filled with stars with whiskers. Naruto, after kicking Kiba, punched the ball coming towards him, which was apparently Choji, and stopped him in his track. Asuma saw his chance and attacked from behind Naruto to see what the blonde will do. Imagine his surprise when Naruto suddenly used Choji as support and jumped in air, all the while smashing his shinobi metal-guarded sandal in the poor Jonin's face. Asuma flew directly in Shikamaru, who was still thinking how to get Naruto to lose focus. When Asuma began standing, he suddenly started to cough. The case was that when Naruto smashed his sandal in his face, the cigarette Asuma was smoking went in his mouth and he swallowed it. Now Asuma was surely out of this round, and then Kakashi decided to enter the fight. He came rocketing towards Naruto from behind, trying to catch him off guard, but he was the one to get surprised as at the last second, Naruto turned around and delivered a roundhouse kick to his temple, sending Kakashi flying into Shikamaru against the arena wall. Ino and Hinata were standing aside. Both were sure that this was a fight they cannot win. Now when Asuma, Choji, Kiba, and Shikamaru were out of this fight, the top Anbu squad became serious and started planning an effective formation to take down their new commander. As they charged him with their swords and tanto, they never saw the ground break under them until 4 pair of hands were holding their ankles. Naruto's clones used their grip on the ankles of the Anbu to pull them under the ground, effectively rendering them useless for the fight. Now Naruto suddenly found himself in a tight position. He was surrounded by Shino, Tenten, Kakashi, Kurenai, Sakura, and Sasuke. Well, not so tight if Sakura was there. Naruto cocked back his fist and slammed it in the ground at his foot. The ground cracked and a boulder shot out from right under Sakura, sending her out of the formation. Naruto shot forward so fast that there was a shockwave produced which was powerful enough to deflect the kunais thrown at him from by Tenten. The distraction was enough for Naruto somehow knock Shino down with a kunai to his throat. "Yield now, Shino. You are good, Naruto." "All right, I yield," said Shino, raising his hands to signal his surrender. Now Naruto jumped to his right just as Kakashi landed a kick where he was standing just a second ago. Naruto turned and disappeared again only to appear behind Sakura. He swiftly chopped her on her neck, and she crumbled face first into the dirt. Pathetic. I thought Konoha was strongest of the great Satos. But if this is the type of kunoichi we are sending on missions outside of village, then I am not sure how long we can maintain that position. Kakashi and Kurenai couldn't agree more. It was clear that Sakura and most of her generation's kunoichis were just fangirls and will only die when they encounter a real shinobi for first time. Tintin, sorry if you got upset, but I wasn't referring to you or Hinata and Ino. Those two examined their opponent first, then decided their course of action, which was a smart move on their part, said Naruto with a smile. The mentioned girls couldn't help but blush a deep crimson. Now Naruto, don't forget us, said Kakashi as he tried to strike on Naruto with a fist, which was followed by a kick that could have connected if Naruto wouldn't caught it. Naruto smiled and said, "Don't underestimate me, sensei." Kakashi was confused until he felt a presence behind and could not respond in time as he turned his head. A roundhouse connected with his temple, effectively bring him down to his knees. You sure have become a one-man army in Naruto, Kakashi said, chuckling. Well, you know me, sensei, I am the only one who can make 1,000 clones at a time, so my training trip of 3 years gave me a result of almost 3,000 years. So you can say that. Good for you, Naruto. Good for you. So are you getting up or not, sensei? Honestly, I don't enjoy beating the shit out of my dear ones such as you. I am honored. Really. Okay, I'm going to take a knee here and get my stamina back for jutsu and Dojutsu portion. Right. See you in a minute. And true to his words, Naruto was back in front of Kakashi. Not a scratch on him, huh? Thought Kakashi. He tilted his head to see everyone excluding Sasuke defeated. Now I am going to take care of that, Doc, but answered Naruto to the unasked question. Kakashi only nodded. Naruto turned to face a smirking Sasuke who was clearly thinking that he was stronger than everyone, and thus Naruto couldn't defeat him, but oh how wrong he was. Sasuke ran full force towards Naruto, but all he succeeded to do was kick air. What the dash? Line combo. Hailed storm, said Naruto appearing behind him and kicking him right under the back of Sasuke's right knee. He quickly delivered a spinning kick to his right bicep as well, resulting in Sasuke losing feeling in both the leg and hand altogether. Sasuke cursed and looked at Naruto in anger only to receive a roundhouse kick to his temple which sent him flying in the nearby wall of the stadium. Everyone was shocked that Naruto had so much power in a single kick, but then Sasuke came out with a swollen left temple. He charged at Naruto and started to try and kick or punch him, but Naruto just backflipped out of his way. When Sasuke started to look tired, Naruto decided to end the fight by bringing his left leg up to his head and called out, "Lightning strike," and kicked the ground below him with his heel. The ground cracked, and in blink of an eye Sasuke was head first buried inside the ground as he had lost his balance due to the shockwave and fell forward face first inside the crack made by Naruto. Now Naruto just turned on his heel to look at Tsunade, his turning motion forcing away the dust around him. "Hokage-sama, may I start the next round?" he asked. After looking at all the other ninjas present in the arena, Tsunade nodded her head to signal a go-ahead to Naruto. Turning to look at all the others present in the arena, Naruto smiled and said, "Round 2, Genjutsu." Now most of the kunoichis came forward as well as all Anbu and both Sharingan holders. "Everyone we will attack at the same time, got it?" said Kurenai, already taking charge for her speciality. "Hi," came a united reply. "Now," said Kurenai after watching that Naruto was just standing there. And at least 12 Genjutsus were fired at Naruto back-to-back, affecting his sense of smell, sight, hearing, touch, and feel. As soon as the Genjutsus were in effect, the Anbu shot forward to surround Naruto, ready to take him down at a moment's notice. Naruto was just standing there as if he was not affected by Genjutsus. Suddenly Sasuke shot forward and attacked Naruto. Before Anbu could detect movement behind their back, Sasuke had pierced Naruto's heart with a kunai. Blood erupted from the wound and Naruto's head fell forward on his breastbone. So much for the talk, dobe. At least you were killed by an Uchiha. You should be honored. But you can be ashamed as well that I didn't even use my Sharingan once in the fight, and you were dead before getting the honor of seeing my Sharingan in action, said a smirking Sasuke. Everyone was pale at what they saw. Sasuke was in the same position as Kakashi was when he killed Rin. Suddenly chuckling was heard, and then a full-blown laughter. "Ha ha ha ha, good one team. Good one, ha 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 ha," said Naruto as his head went back at full height. "Did you really thought that you could kill someone who defeated Itachi's man GQ? Give me a break." Now Sasuke was visibly shocked as well as pissed. Suddenly the Naruto in front of Sasuke disappeared. "Genjutsu," said Kurenai. "Right as always, Kurenai-sensei." said many Naruto started appearing on the walls of the stadium. Then each clone said one by one, I activated my Genjutsu on the very moment when you ordered the others to attack together. The Naruto Sasuke killed was a Genjutsu. All the Narutos started to go through hand seals at a lightning-fast speed and announced, Samsara illusion, darkness of the underworld. Suddenly everything went black for the arena shinobi and kunoichis. They couldn't see, hear, smell, touch, or feel anything at all. Most frightening of all was that they could not even feel their own chakra inside their bodies. When the Genjutsu was cancelled, each one of them found a cold kunai to their neck by Naruto and his clones, who were Genjutsu as well but still felt real. They surrendered. Well, in Sasuke's case, he was forced to surrender. Next is round 3, Fuinjutsu. How are we supposed to use Fuinjutsu in battle? Asked Kiba. Easy, you can use explosive tags in this battle or use the chakra-absorbing seals as well as jutsu sealing scrolls in this fight to progress. What are jutsu storage scrolls? Asked Choji. They are specially made storage scrolls to store incoming jutsu and use it against your opponent later on. You don't know about them because they are only available for jonins of Konoha military, answered Neji. Correct, as knowledgeable as expected from you, Neji, complimented Naruto. Enough said, shall we start now? Asked Asuma. Well, those of us who can't fight using seals and scrolls are to act as backup and give cover fire to the ones in the front, all right, said Kakashi. Hi. Kurenai, Hinata, and Shino went back from Team 8, leaving Kiba as the main fighter from the team. Team 10 also went to sidelines as backup, leaving Asuma. In Team 9, Neji, Lee, and Guy left Tintin to deal the damage from front and took the right side of the stadium as their post. From Team 7, Sakura fell back and Sasuke and Kakashi stood their ground in front of Naruto. Anbu also stayed in the front line as they were used to fight using explosive tags. Naruto said, all right, ready, Hajime. All the ninjas in the stadium sprang in action at this, started to shoot kunais with explosive tags attached to them at Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, he was busy deflecting all the kunais thrown at him using a Hiraishin kunai in right hand and a golden shuriken in left hand, which he used to change the trajectory of the incoming projectiles. He was dodging a lot of kunais and couldn't use any attack of his own yet. Then suddenly Kakashi appeared in front of him holding a string of explosive notes and started to wrap them around Naruto at lightning speed. In a second, Naruto was wrapped completely in explosive tags. Only his hands and legs were visible. Even his head was wrapped in explosive tags. Appearing in front of him, Kakashi said, sorry for going overboard with the tags, but you can never be too sure in Naruto. And he disappeared. You really went overboard with the tags, Kakashi. Even Naruto can get injured from that much of explosive tags going off in his face all at once, said Asuma. Yeah, well, that's what this fight is for, to test him, right? Let's see how he gets out of there, said Kakashi and made Ram seal with his right hand to flare his chakra so that the explosives will get activated. Imagine his surprise when the explosives didn't go off. Instead, Naruto just shrugged them from his shoulders using a kunai. What, how did you? Said Kakashi. Just as Naruto was about to answer, Sasuke appeared in front of him ready to place explosive tag on Naruto's forehead. Naruto reacted fast and took the explosives tags which were still usable from Kakashi's string of tags and did exactly what Kakashi did to him. He wrapped them around Sasuke's abdomen and appeared in front of Sasuke and placed the tag in Sasuke's hand on his forehead and handed him the last tag in the string and said, do me a favor and hold this for me, will ya? And jumped away from him and made a ram seal in the air, and boom, there goes the duck butt flying in the stadium wall with a complete black face. Sasuke collided with the wall head-on and was out cold before he could even scream from the pain. Well, not that it matters, because a pink-haired howler monkey screamed like a banshee she is, much to the headache of many people in the stadium. Well, you were asking what happened there when you tried to roast me alive, sensei, said Naruto, at which Kakashi just looked embarrassed. The thing is, when you were wrapping me in that troublesome string of yours, I stared using the fingers of my left hand to push my chakra in the tags, removing yours from the commanding matrix of the tags so that they will only go off when I made them, not you, stated Naruto. Everyone in the stadium looked shocked. But how? I never saw you move, said a surprised Kakashi. Which does not means I didn't, said Naruto easily. Now that was something. Kakashi was one of the fastest ninja Konoha had. And if he could not follow the movements of Naruto, then it meant Naruto was a lot faster than him. Well, what is ninja rule number 9? Said Naruto. A ninja should never drop their guard, said Shikamaru. Right, and what is rule number 13? Again asked Naruto. A ninja should always be aware of his or her surroundings, answered Neji. Good, because all of you overlook those rules, said Naruto. Now everyone was confused. Seeing as this round is almost over, let me explain why you lost, said Naruto. You all thought that I was dodging or deflecting all the kunais because I couldn't attack any one of you at that time, right? At this he got several nods. Well, I was making inkless seals on the ground with the movements of my legs and hands. I can make inkless seals using my hand movements alone. All the time when you all were attacking me, I was constantly sending my chakra in the ground via my legs and directing it in the form of the seals. Right now, all of you are standing on those seals of mine. They will drain all of your chakra at one motion of my hand. Want to see? Well, seeing as Sakura is of no use in further rounds, let her be the test subject, said Naruto. Before Sakura could protest, he made a riding motion with his hand and suddenly Sakura was on her knees gasping for air. There. I drained almost all of her chakra with just one motion of my hand, and do you know where it is now? Asked Naruto. And you right. I mean those seals of yours were designed to give the user all the chakra absorbed, theorized Shikamaru. It is in the roots of trees present in Konoha's forest strengthening our village's natural shield, said Naruto. Unbelievable, to think that he could make seals of that level when he was deflecting so many kunais with explosive tags, said Niji. Well, now to add the extra surety, said Naruto as he made a series of hand seals and the walls of the arena started to glow. What is that? Questioned Guy and AMBU at the same time. Their question was answered when the glow died down to reveal a matrix of seals on whole wall. Suddenly Kakashi started to chuckle. What is that, my eternal rival? Why are you laughing? Asked Guy. I am laughing at the irony of the situation, Guy, as I recognize those seals, replied the copy ninja. What are the functions of those seals, Kakashi? Asked Kurenai. Yes, who do they work? Asuma added his 2 cents in the series of questions to the Sharingan user. Yes, senpai. Maybe we will able to counter them or get out of their effect, said the AMBU captain. You all don't know them, right? Asked Kakashi. All the new generation was listening to the discussion of the Jonins and AMBU. When Kakashi got negative response, he decided to end their misery. I recognize those seals because in the Third Shinobi World War, just before when Konoha's Yellow Flash, Minato-sensei, destroyed Iwa's shinobi battalions using Hiroshin, he used those exact seals on the battlefield to increase the number of shinobi in his reach, as those seals will not allow anyone to leave the area. No amount of explosives or ninjutsu, no matter what elemental, can destroy them. They are the perfect trap. There is no one that I know who has escaped these seals. We are pretty much done for. I have to say, like father like son, you couldn't mean that we cannot escape them, Kakashi, my eternal rival. My flames of youth burn brightly, and they are brighter than yours, shouted Guy. Huh. Did you say something? Said Kakashi with half-open eye. Oh, Kakashi. You and your hip attitude. All right, that's enough. I can destroy these stupid seals of dope easily. After all, I am an Uchiha, the last member of the most powerful clan to ever grace this world with its presence. Said. You know who? Apparently during this whole ordeal, the Emo King had come to his senses. Stop this nonsense, Sasuke. You are nowhere near the level of Naruto. So stop trying to look good when in reality you are only making a fool of yourself. Said Kurenai. Shut up, bitch, said an angry Sasuke with his Sharingan activated for intimidation. Not that it worked on the Jonin, thus after 2 seconds, he deactivated his eyes. This made all the Jonins present to stop themselves from killing the boy with their own hands. Behave yourself, insect. You should know your place. She is more powerful than you can handle after all, unlike you. She is not all talk. She can back up her position in the village. Said Naruto, a snarl present on his face. Just you wait once I defeat you. I will not only take your position as the new Imbu head, but also all the wealth and weapons of your both clans will be mine. Said Sasuke smugly. You are welcome to try, but remember that your clan is dead, so if you fail to do what you dream of, then there is no one you can run to, crying on your failure. Maybe that Banshee over there, but who is counting her? She is negligible in this situation's equation. I see the dope's math has become better, replied Sasuke. I see too. Team can only bark, not bite. You sure Itachi wasn't bitten by you when he went insane and killed that pompous-ass clan of yours? I will show you who can bite, said Sasuke, and jumped towards the nearest wall to deliver a shitload of explosives, but the seals weren't only for cantonment. A massive push of wind chakra was emitted from the seals, which blew Sasuke away, and boom. For the second time in the span of 20 minutes, Sasuke was subjected to explosions in his face, again knocking him out successfully. Everyone's sweat dropped at the obvious show of lack of emotion control from Sasuke. Cough cough. Sasuke. Now, I Tsunade Senju. Announce end of this round, said Tsunade on the podium from the Kaga box. Okay then, next round will start in 5 minutes. Everyone, get your injuries treated as the next round is going to need you in your top shape, said Naruto. Medics rushed in the arena to get the shinobi in as better condition as possible in 5 minutes. Happy face, carrot. After 5 minutes, happy face, carrot. All the shinobi were treated and the medics were back to their post. Even with their injuries treated and their chakra replenished, thanks to chakra replenishing pills, no one looked much willing to fight. Naruto appeared in a puff of smoke in the middle of the arena. Alright, now that everyone is up and running, let us start the next round. Next is round 4, Kenjutsu. How now, something I like, as said Tenten. Don't worry, sweetheart. You will like the upcoming rounds as well, said Naruto, and winked. Tenten suddenly found ground beneath her feet more interesting as she was blushing up a storm. Let us start. Everyone take out your weapons, said Asuma. Every Anbu took out their ninjados. Kakashi summoned his tanto that he used to fight with in his earlier days as an Anbu. Tenten took out a boo staff and took a stance which showed years of practice. Asuma was quick to put on his knuckle knives. Everyone else took out kunais or knives. They waited for Naruto to bring out his weapon, who made a hand seal, and in a puff of smoke there was a gunbai strapped to his back and 2 swords in both his hands. The one in his left hand was pitch black and looked like to be coated in oil, with a triangular guard and a silver chain of about 20 centimeters hanging from the bottom of the handle. The one in his right hand was blood red in color with a silver line on the sharp side. It had a pentagonal guard, and a pure black chain was connected to the bottom of the handle, going inside the sleeve of Naruto's right arm up to his bicep and curling there, like Tensai Zangetsu of Ichigo after Dangai training in Bleach. What was more interesting about the black sword was that its edge was a little like comb, having teeth going from top to bottom to help in cutting out flesh. Similarly, the red one had small holes in the middle of it to help in striking with minimum air resistance, and these holes also allowed the blood to flow out of the wound even when the blade was still in it. All in all, these 2 blades were screaming for the shinobis to keep their distance from the one holding them. Shit, those are the famous swords of gods. I thought they were just a myth, said a now sweating Asuma. Care to explain their properties a little? Asked Kakashi. Holding his trusted tanto after so many years made him turn back into his Anbu mode. Thought Kurenai. Guy and Asuma simultaneously. I don't know. None survived a battle with him to disclose that secret. Last I checked, they were supposed to be protected, a country of monks in the west, answered Asuma. Correct. They were in that country indeed, until I razed that country to the ground, said Naruto. Everyone was shocked at this, even Tsunade. What did you do? Asked Tsunade. Let me explain. After having such strong weapons in their possession for so long made them greedy. They started to try and use them for forcing the countries around them to submit to them. They were using them when none of them knew how to use them correctly, and due to this an accident occurred. The one using them lost control and leveled a whole village of people. I was in that country at that time and came to know about this. As per my nature, I couldn't just sit hand on hand. So I went there to negotiate with them for the well-being of other neighboring countries, but they were so engrossed in the power of these swords that they tried to attack me with them. I destroyed the one using them and showed that very country what it felt like to be attacked by these swords. Last I checked, that country was being used as a country of graveyards by neighboring ones, said Naruto. Now everyone went calm. Tsunade knew that Naruto was telling truth, as she had heard about a village disappearing in a night from the face of the earth, and then after a week a whole country did the same. She never acted on the news because she thought that these were either rumors being spread by people trying to increase tourism to that part of the world, or even if they were true, the incidents took place very far from elemental nations for her to worry. Now she knew what happened, but still she will have a talk with Naruto regarding the topic. Whatever me, and you are going to have a long talk about that later. As for now, I believe you are not going to kill any of my ninjas with those swords, right? She ordered as well as asked. Of course not, Hokage-sama, said Naruto, clearly upset that his mother figure would doubt him and his judgment. Hearing Naruto address her as Hokage-sama instead of Bachan, delivered the message of Naruto's downed emotions to Tsunade, who couldn't think of what to say at the moment. So she just ordered the continuation and sat down. This black one here is called Angel of Chaos. It's said that the Shinigami-sama made it from the spine of his own human body, said Naruto, now holding the mentioned sword in front of him for everyone to see. This one here is called Fury of Hell, crafted in Hell's Flames by Yami-sama herself using her tears as the power, said Naruto, and showed the red sword in his right hand. Then he stabbed both swords in ground and took out the gunbai in his hand from his back. Holding it in front of him, he said, and this masterpiece of craftsmanship is called God's Thunderstorm, made from the same metal as Kami-sama's throne by herself, using her purity as the power source. As for their abilities, I don't think it would be a good idea to disclose such secrets of my weapons in public where there are enemies of mine and my village waiting to get valuable info on me. Everyone nearly forgot that they were in the middle of a battle. Weapons forged by gods themselves were present in front of their eyes, thus they couldn't help but marvel at their beauty, especially Tenten. Enough chit-chat. I think we were about to see the round 4 of Kenjutsu, right? So get on with it already, screamed Tsunade. Right? All right, Bachan, what's with the rush? Said the gladiator of the arena. Let's start this round, shall we? Said a grinning Naruto. Chapter 6 Stories of the Past. This chapter is denoted to my best pals and readers, Mike 202303 and Animaman. Flashback. Naruto was just getting his head straight after his encounter with the supposed Sage of Six Paths. The red chakra of Nine Tails was back where it belonged, the seal. His vision was still blurred, but he could easily distinguish a worried Jiraiya's face from the other things in the background. Jiraiya was leaning over Naruto's down form with a face which was now officially a worried sick Jiraiya expression. What the hell happened, Naruto? Answer me, damn it, said the tense sensei. One moment, he was perfect, and the next, he was on the ground with his head in his hands. Arrow Sanine, too much noise. Will you shut up for a sec, came the reply of the protege. After helping Naruto wash his face with water from a nearby lake, Jiraiya helped him to stand. After both of them were settled under the shade of a large tree, away from any civilian as well as shinobi eyes and ears, Jiraiya finally asked, "Okay, now tell me what happened there. You scared the shit out of me. I thought the seal was coming off or Kyuubi was again trying to take over." Naruto didn't reply right away. His hair was shadowing over his upper face, successfully hiding his eyes from Jiraiya. "You knew, right?" "You knew all along," whispered Naruto with his eyes still on the ground. What are you babbling about, Gaki? You knew all along. I can't believe it, after all this time. Now you are really scaring me for your mental health there. Just get to the point, will you? You knew my parents, didn't you?" asked Naruto. Now Jiraiya's eyes grew wide with shock. How did he came to know this? Who could tell him such a secret? "I don't know what you're saying, brat. Just rest, and we will get on the road to the next town. Don't you lie to me, damn it. Why don't you just tell me about my parents? After all, you can't be serious that you, a freaking Sannin, is not aware of whose child was made the Jinchuriki of your village," said a very upset Naruto, as he was getting angry more and more by every second. Jiraiya was about to deny again, but when Naruto lifted his head, he was able to clearly see a set of blood-red eyes filled with tears. Shit. Either he is very upset or very angry to unconsciously draw on the Kyuubi's chakra. This is the kid I was made the godfather of. This is the son of my precious student Minato. This is the kid who will grow into a great man and prove himself to be the child of prophecy. I can't lie to him. Not about his parents, not anymore. All right, Gaki, I will tell you about your parents. But first you must know that I am your godfather. Naruto was now beyond happy. At long last, someone he could call family. But Naruto promised me that you will not use your real name before the completion of your 3-year training trip. I promise, Godfather. I will only take up my family name after I am capable of backing it up. Good to hear. Now first your mother. Naruto listened intently. Princess of Yuzushiogakure no Sato. Truly a force to be reckoned with. Master of swords and deadly in taijutsu and kenjutsu. Beauty such as Kami-sama herself will feel jealous. Strength of a tailed beast. Chakra so special that not even Kyuubi's Yukai could handle it. Crimson hair of a goddess. Purple eyes of a miracle. The name of that woman, no goddess among people, was Uzumaki Kushina, said Jiraiya proudly. Naruto couldn't help but smile at everything Jiraiya said about his mother. She was the tomboy of her class and was always spotted at the same Ichiraku ramen stand just like you. She came to Konoha when she was 8. I must tell you, she was the second Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi before you and after Shodai's wife. Mito-sama being the first. Whenever she became angry, her hair will rise and sway in the form of 9 tails behind her back. Come to think of it, I never asked whether it was he doing or an instinct thing. Anyways, back to the topic. What a woman. She once caught me peeping on the women of Konoha at the hot springs. Man, what a beat bone it was. I still feel sore in my back where she sat after beating me within an inch of my life. Anyways, I would like to tell you this. She was the happiest woman alive when she found out about you growing inside of her. She was the only woman who looked pretty even during pregnancy. The mood swings were disastrous, though. Naruto was now shedding tears of happiness. Now he could say he knew a little about his mother, the woman who gave him his life. Seeing the smile on his student's face made Jiraiya smile as well. Okay, strongest shinobi to ever grace this world, pool of kindness, a true genius, prodigy of Konoha, smile that could melt even the heart of an angry Tsunade, a loving pure soul, sun-kissed golden locks, piercing deep ocean blue eyes. Built of an outstanding shinobi, the man who single-handedly ended the Third Shinobi World War, massacred a whole village's shinobi force in a span of seconds, second summoner of the prestigious clan of Toads after me and before you. Hailed as the hero by whole Konoha and feared as well as respected by all other nations, the god among man, holder of the name Konoha's Yellow Flash, inventor of devastating jutsus only second to the Nandame Hokage, the man to hold the world's most power title as well as the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military shinobi force, the shinobi to defeat the mighty Kyuubi no Kitsune, my own student, the Yondaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, Namikaze Minato. Now Naruto was definitely proud of his father, who won't be after hearing all this. Heck, the author of this story is proud of the Yondaime and wishes to be his son instead. Figured as much, said Naruto. What, how did you figure it out on your own? Asked a confused Jiraiya. Well duh, look at me and look at dad. We are bound to be closely related somehow, said Naruto in a joking tone. Oh, okay, now tell me what happened back there. And how did you suddenly knew that I knew about your parents' identities, said Jiraiya. Well, you see. And so Naruto told Jiraiya everything that happened in his mind. After explanation. So get me this straight. You were telling me that you met Sage of Six Paths and are going to train with him in Kyuubi from now on. Then what am I supposed to do? Try and find the Forest of Creation, asked Jiraiya. You can keep Akatsuki and Konoha off my back and give me some notes of my father on Hiroshin along with some of those special kunais. Answered Naruto. Oh yeah, I have some of Minato's notes, but they are from when he was just trying to recreate the legendary jutsu. I am not sure they will be much of help. Either way, you can have them, and don't worry about Tsunade and Akatsuki. I will cover your back, said Jiraiya. That's good to hear, Ero Sennin. Shut up, brat. I thought at the very least you will stop calling me that after your encounter with someone as the Sennin. Whatever you say. Anyways, any idea where you will train? Because if you stayed, Akatsuki may find you, and if you traveled, Konoha may find you. What about that Forest of Creation that you mentioned earlier? That forest? It is a mythical forest gaki. It is said that the sage used to meditate there, and that's where he died. It is said that whoever entered that forest will either end up as powerful as the sage or as good as a dead pigeon. Many tried to find that forest, but no one succeeded, or even if someone did, they weren't left alive to tell any stories of that place. I highly recommend that you drop that idea from your head. I know where that forest is, Ero Sennin. I know that that place is cursed. Hagoromo or the sage had a brother. That brother cursed that forest, that no one will ever find that forest, or even if someone did find that forest. Without the sage's chakra to protect them in the forest, they will die. I have that chakra in me, so I will be training there. Just send messages via toads and meet me in this town after 2 years on this very day. Are you sure you will be able to handle yourself out there alone? Of course, pervy sage. Who do you think I am? I am Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. I can take care of myself, said Naruto, pounding his fist on his chest. Time skip. 3 days later. Outskirts of the land of grains. Distance from elemental nations, 3,700 kilometers. Damn. I wish Ero Sennin was here to buy me that ice stick. It's burning up here, said Naruto as he was currently climbing a tall mountain of Grain Country's border. After traveling for 3 straight days with minimal rest and food, Naruto was now running empty in case of stomach and full in case of bladder. He was climbing this mountain for the last 5 hours or so and was nearly on the peak. There were no settlements in the nearby vicinity of the mountain, and Naruto was desperate for water because he ended up losing his canteen in a rather unlucky incident which involved a big swamp, a squirrel, and a poor soul of good heart. On reaching the top of the mountain, Naruto turned around to get the view from the high ground to get a better understanding of the surroundings of what was going to be his home for the next 2 exhausting years of extreme training in all shinobi arts. As he turned around, he nearly fell back in the depth of the valley of the mountain. He quickly jumped back to a safe distance away from the edge of the mountain to preserve his precious life. Lifting his head up, what he saw amazed him to no end. There in front of him was the greatest view of the world he had ever seen in his whole life until now. He was almost in the clouds, and birds were flying from one mountainside to another in groups of hundreds, doing unimaginable teamwork to make the group look like one single being. He could see both the rivers that were originating from the very same mountain he was standing on. Even saw some of easier ways he could have used to get up here and memorized them for later use. As he turned back to face the mountain's peak, he thought, okay, so now what, old man? What am I supposed to do now? Try finding a big slab on the cliff of the mountain. Son, came the reply from inside his head. Well, I have spotted the slab, brat. It's on that cliff on your right. On your 2 o'clock, said Kyuubi from inside too. Yeah, I see it too. Thanks, furball, said Naruto, enjoying how Kyuubi started muttering about disrespectful brats and their cheesy grins. Naruto soon reached the ledge with the slab on it. On reaching it, Naruto found that it was a map of the shinobi world. The land was elevated and the oceans and seas were deeply engraved. Now try finding an error in it, son, said the sage. Naruto started to concentrate on finding a mistake in the map. After 5 minutes of searching, he finally spotted a small part of land of fire to be bigger than it should be. He quickly reached for it and touched it. As soon as his hand came in contact of the slab, The extra land went down to the level of the ocean, and all around him a wall appeared from the ground. "Now solve the last puzzle, Naruto," said the sage again. "All right, here we go," said Naruto to no one in particular, and started to analyze the slab. Now the oceans were elevated and land was pressed down. This one went easy as Naruto soon found that the wave country was raised to the ocean's level and quickly pressed it. As soon as he pressed the slab, the ground under him gave away, and he found himself falling inside the mountain. Naruto was quite frightened at first because it is not every day that you fall inside a huge mountain. As he peeked under him during the fall, he spotted forest of lush green color with some brown trees here and there. Ow fuck, dump, crack, whoosh, splat, silence, silence, silence. Naruto now found himself inside a pit of leaves which was clearly made to cushion the fall in this forest. I almost forgot about this pit. I used to fall in it during the starting years of my training. But then I got the hang of levitation and it was forgotten. Silly me, said the sage. It's good that you forgot about this pit or my back would be killing me right now. Came the reply from Naruto, effectively striking a conversation. Anyways, be cautious, Naruto. This forest is inhabited by all types of mystical beings. From dragons and dwarfs to elves and elite summons. They will easily attack you if provoked. Try to walk against the direction of wind. It will prevent the creatures from smelling you. What the hell, old man? You never mentioned that I will have to face dragons in this forest, and what is this? It's a forest inside a mountain. How can there be wind inside here? It is possible, Naruto. There is a temple in this forest which is housed by the dragons. These dragons continuously blow wind by flapping their large wings and breath out fire to maintain this place's temperature. Didn't you notice that this forest is quite warm even after being situated inside a tall mountain with almost no light? Yo, okay, come to think of it, how is there light in here? If you can see on careful and close examination of the wall of this forest, they are made up of such material which only allows light to come inside and not to leave. That's how once the light enters here, it is trapped here for eternity. Oh shit, a fucking black hole? Calm down, idiot. Just give those horses of your thoughts some rest and get a move on, said an annoyed QB. Shut up, furball, or should I say Kurama. Don't you dare call me by my name, brat. Shut up and just go to sleep, fox. Naruto started to move inside the dense forest. He was using the advice of the sage and moving against the direction of wind. As he was walking, he came to a spot where a light stream of water was emerging from under a big rock. Water, at last we are again united in this cruel world filled with pain and suffering to quench each other's thirst, said Naruto with his hands apart. Great. Now he is acting like that green spandex-wearing idiot of Konoha. Why am I doomed to be sealed only inside the Uzumakis with ramen in place of their brains? Why, God, why? Whined a crying QB in front of the sage who was now sporting a sweat drop. You do know that I can't hear you, right? Thought a narrow-eyed Naruto, effectively shutting up the QB in its rant. After Naruto drank the water and stored some inside a scroll, he decided to make a cave beside the stream, but the sage suggested that he make a house from his newly acquired Mokuton. When Naruto pointed out that he didn't know how to use Mokuton yet, the sage landed him a hand. All right, old man, here I go. Ninja Arts, Mokuton no Jutsu. As the sage directed Naruto's Mokuton chakra for the jutsu, a house started to emerge from the ground. It was a 2-story house and could house a small family of 4. It had big windows with wooden bars to stop anyone from entering via windows and a perfect front yard with boundary walls of wood with spikes on outer surface. As Naruto was entering inside the house, he was impressed as the house looked more like a clan compound. When he reached the front gate, he saw a set of 6 wooden Meganas engraved on it. That's to notify the creatures of this forest that this house belongs to me, Naruto, said the sage inside Naruto's head. Naruto just smirked and entered the house. After he was settled inside comfortably, he thought, now what, old man? What are the plans regarding my training under you? Oh yes, your training. I almost forgot, this old age must be getting to me in this form as well. Anyways, I was thinking that you have yet to activate your new eyes, right, Naruto? Yes. Try activating them. They will just sting a bit at first, then everything should go back to normal. Okay, let's see. Just channel my chakra to my eyes. As Naruto channeled his chakra towards his eyes, they changed from his deep ocean blue ones to a Sharingan with 1 tomo, then the second one appeared soon followed by the third one. Then the veins around his eyes bulged and his eyes went wide with the pupil becoming white surrounded by black tomos of Sharingan. Then his tomos got connected by lines and soon his eye resembled Rinnegan. But the transformation didn't stop there. The lines in his eyes started gaining more tomos until there were 9 of them. Now his eyes were metallic purple in color with a hint of silver in the middle and red at the corners. As the transformation finished, Naruto let out an earth-shattering scream of agony and started to thrash around with his head and hands. His eyes squeezed shut. What the hell, old man, you said it will just sting a little. It seems like my whole brain is on fire. Is being electrocuted. I think it is because I had Jubi inside me. When I gained the eternal level, I defeated Jubi, while I still had only Rinnegan. You, on the other hand, only have Kyubi inside you, which still is a good thing, as if you had the 7 tails or lesser one in you. I am sorry to say that you would have died right away, said the sage grimly. I don't care about what would have happened. Just help me with this pain. Naruto was now colliding with the wooden walls of his new house, while holding his head and eyes with his hands. I can knock you out if you want, said Kyubi from inside his mind. If it will save me from this pain, then please do, came the reply. Here you go. You owe me one, kid. And with that, Kyubi leaked some of its chakra in Naruto's own chakra network and blocked the flow of chakra from his brain for a split of second, successfully knocking him out. In the real world, suddenly Naruto's eyes rolled back in his skull and he crumbled in a heap on the floor. Next day when Naruto woke up, he went outside to collect some fruits for breakfast. The sage told him that once he will get a hang of his new powers, he will not need to eat, as his body will start feeding on the natural chakra around him, but until then, he was left with finding his own food in the forest. At first, Naruto freaked out while thinking that he will no longer be able to eat his favorite ramen, but the sage told him that he will be easily able to eat all he wants, even though he will not need it. So after the breakfast of some ripe fruits, Naruto's training began. He was forced to do muscle exercises whole day for about 6 months, which included him digging a huge crater for his taijutsu training. Then the sage will have him fill it with mud and water. When it will become a swamp-like pit, he will force Naruto to jump in its center and perform all the katas and kicks of the taijutsu styles he was learning while trying not to drown inside the swamp at the same time. Endurance. He was also sent at the dragon's temple on many occasions by the sage, where the dragons will start to chase him all around the forest and Naruto will run for his life. Speed. Naruto will try to steal some of the meat from the wolf clan, which will result in him getting more close to the meat every time he tried, but will still result in the clan biting on his ass. Stealth. He was forced to carry a stack of fishes from one end of the forest to the other, hiding from all other creatures and searching and planning for more effective ways to get past enemy clan territories. Intelligence. Naruto had to make bridges wherever he encountered a trench or river. The twist was that he was only allowed to use kicks and punches to break the tree trunks. Power. Soon Naruto was making walls of rocks that he crushed using his knuckles and hunting for prey, instead of surviving on fruits and vegetation. The next 6 months were used to train his ninjutsu. He woke and then practiced jutsus of all types. He practiced Katon, Suiton, Reishin, Doton, and Futon styles for 3 hours each, and then he moved on to Shodan, Huton, Mokuton, and other styles and releases, including his gravity manipulation. All this time, Naruto was receiving info on Akatsuki from Jiraiya via Toads and was giving him updates of his training. After 1 year of his training was over, he was told that he will be starting in his sage training as well as his Dojutsu training. On training in his Dojutsu, Naruto easily activated Byakugan, Sharingan, and Rinnegan because he had already seen the first 2 in his life up until now and wielded the 3rd one. He was also able to activate 3 types of Mangekyo Sharingans. Kakashi's, because he saw him use it in one of his battles and later studied it when Kakashi was in hospital after his encounter with Itachi. Using Kakashi's eye technique, he also reached another dimension where he found out about Obito and his fake Madara alias. Second was Itachi's Mangekyo. He got this one by using Rinnegan's ability of information gathering from one's soul on Kakashi. He once heard that Tsunade Senju, the Godame Hokage, was injured by an ambush when she was traveling to Fire Capital. So he sent a clone to make sure Tsunade was fine, and that's when the opportunity presented itself when he found out that Kakashi was injured as well and was in Konoha's hospital, recovering. His clone copied the information about Itachi's Sharingan and a little about his father's use of Hiraishin from Kakashi's head when he knocked out Kakashi using Sexy no Jutsu. Well, the blame was later passed on to Konohamaru for using the Kenjutsu on a Jonin, but at least the job was done. Lastly, Naruto activated his own Mangekyo, which evolved in Eternal Mangekyo because of his Eternal Rinnegan. His Mangekyo will be described later, so send your suggestions please. After he was expert in the use of his Dojutsu, he started his Sage training for 10 months as well as Hiraishin training. He became the first complete Toad Sage. He never needed to stay still thanks to Sage's chakra in him, but balancing his, Kyubi's, Sage's, and natural chakra was the real hard part. He nearly burned his chakra coils to crisp on more than one occasion. After a long wait, Naruto also completed Hiraishin training and started to train in making Hiraishin kunais using his creation of all things ability, the one Pain uses to make his rods. His training with truth-seeking orbs was also fruitful, and he easily controlled them, as he was quite natural to them due to his pure heart and soul. When Naruto was done with all the training, he still had a week left before he was supposed to meet Jiraiya. He used that week to battle both the Sage and the Kyuubi inside his mindscape. First few fights were hard pressing on him, but he managed to defeat Kyuubi in one of the fight, and then the Sage lost his stamina in another. All in all, he was quite happy with his training, but it was still the experience he was lacking. That will be taken care of soon. He will show the world what this new Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze can do by crushing Akatsuki and all others who will stand in his way. Time skip. Jiraiya was waiting in the same clearing in which he left his pupil 2 years ago. He was always in contact with his godson, but he will be seeing him for the first time after 2 years and his training under the Sage. As he was thinking on what has happened in the outer world in these 2 years, he didn't notice when the air behind him started to distort and swirl inside a small portal, and Naruto appeared right behind him. "Hello, Sensei," said Naruto, smiling. At this, Jiraiya turned around so fast that he nearly broke his neck. The ice stick that he bought for Naruto fell from his hand, but Naruto used gravity manipulation to stop it from hitting the ground. There in front of him was his godson, looking like a god for God's sake. Naruto was wearing black AMBU-style pants with bandages from his shins to his ankles. There was a black t-shirt on his torso which stuck to his body, showing the result of his physical training. There were 6 Meganas on the upper front part of the t-shirt in white color. Naruto wore an orange Hayori over his t-shirt with black flames at the bottom of it. The Hayori reached his lower shin and had a red string in front of his chest to close the front. He also had black fingerless gloves on his hands with bandages on his right arm completely covering it from view. There was a loose brown belt around his waist which had his pouches hanging from it. His outfit was completed by black shinobi sandals and Tsunade's gift, Shodai's necklace around his neck with his hatae with long black cloth tied firmly around his forehead. "Guess who's back?" said a grinning Naruto. "Naruto, my boy, is that you?" stuttered Jiraiya. Naruto's grin transformed into a full-blown smile as he pressed a thumb to his chest and replied, "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, one and only." Chapter 7. The 7 Rounds Part 2. "Let's start with this round," said Naruto. "Yeah," came the united reply of all the shinobi around him. As the fighting began, Sasuke dashed forward and rocketed towards Naruto with a kunai in both hands. Naruto saw this and blocked the strike with Hell's Fury and bought Chaos Angel on him. Sasuke tried to block the incoming strike with his kunai, but the sword cleaved right through it and continued on its path. Sensing the danger, he jumped back and thought, "Those swords are very powerful. I need them to kill him. I want those swords no matter what." Dope is just using them without any thought. Their true power will only be revealed in the hands of an elite Uchiha. "Hey Dope, give me those swords, and I will not use civil council to get them from you. If you deny, then be prepared to be embarrassed when I take them from your beaten form," said Sasuke, smirking. "Keep on dreaming, team. You are beneath me. It was someone like you whom I have to kill to get these swords. They are now a clan heirloom. No one but my clan mates will be able to use them with my consent. Only one part of Uchiha clan will be able to touch them, and that will be Uchiha blood, nothing else," said Naruto with a neutral expression. "I will get them, and then use them to completely obligate you, and all those you love, Dope," said Sasuke without thinking. Even if all this shit talking was not enough for Naruto to beat the shit out of the last Uchiha, by using the last line, Sasuke crossed the one line that no enemy of Naruto should cross. He threatened his precious people. Naruto shot forward with his swords in hand, but there was something different this time. He was holding Chaos Angel in reverse grip in his left hand, whereas Hell's Fury was held straight in his right. Sasuke took out his kunai out in his left hand, and his right hand was hovering on his wrist of his left one where a seal was located. When Naruto was moving towards Sasuke, Asuma appeared in his path with his trench knives in both hands and attacked Naruto. Kakashi used this distraction to attack his student from behind with his tanto fused with chakra. As the audience saw what the two jonins were up to, they moved forward and leaned in to get a better view of the interesting thing that was about to happen. As Naruto sensed the two attacks coming towards him, he quickly used Hell's Fury, moving in lightning speed, and brought the sword behind his back and blocked the chakra-infused tanto of Kakashi. As Asuma attacked from front with his trench knives, Naruto quickly used Chaos Angel in his left hand and stopped the attack of one of the knives and suddenly allowed Kakashi's tanto to push him forward. The sudden weight of Kakashi and Naruto forced Asuma to use the remaining trench knife in his right hand to block Chaos Angel, which was now dangerously near to his throat. All three of them held that position for a little while, trying to overpower each other. They were forced to separate as the AMBU decided to attack at that moment. Kakashi and Asuma jumped back so as to allow the ANBU team large space to attack their new commander. They sprang into action and started to attack Naruto from all 4 directions at the same time. Naruto was in the middle of this frenzy and was easily blocking all the strikes. Is this the level of skill that Konoha's Ambu has to offer? I have a long way to go in front of me to make Ambu what I like, thought Naruto. As the Ambu were attacking Naruto, all others in the sidelines stopped throwing kunai and shuriken to let Ambu handle the situation. Naruto was just letting the Ambu attack him and fail when suddenly he caught a glimpse of someone from between a gap in Ambu's formation. Sasuke. Naruto immediately remembered the target of his attack and decided that he had seen enough of the Ambu teams enough. In one swift motion, he sealed Hell's Fury and took out Thunderstorm. In one swing of the godly Gumbai, he created a slash of white chakra which blew away all the Ambu to the walls of the stadium. The whole stadium was shell-shocked. A single ninja was defeating their elite shinobi in a fair battle without breaking a sweat. From the look of it, the other nins were trying their best to defeat him. Well, not the Jonins, but they were giving it fair amount of determination too. Uzumaki Naruto no Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto was still looking bored. Kage box. In the back of the Kage box, there sat an unknown enemy of Naruto. This old man was not seeing Naruto growing in power. He was watching how much his weapon has grown under the tutelage of Jiraiya of the Sannin. This guy was known as Shimura Danzo, the old warhawk of Konoha and ex-teammate of Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Kyuubi has definitely given him its power, or it would be impossible for a lost cause like him to gain that kind of power, student of Jiraiya or not. Were the thoughts of this bag of bones? Anyway, Tsunade has given him the command of Anbu of Konoha, so he is no longer eligible for recruitment en route. He is a Namikaze, that's for sure. Hiruzen was able to hide a secret like this for so long is both admirable and problematic. Tsunade was just sitting there neutrally without a hint of worry on her face. Not that her genjutsu will allow small lines on her forehead caused by tension to be shown. Naruto is definitely more powerful than Kakashi, and I think he will give me some serious trouble in a fight, but nothing I can't handle, thought Tsunade. Only if she knew how wrong she was. Naruto could give her more than just trouble. Back on the field, Naruto saw his window and again made a beeline towards Sasuke. When he was almost on Sasuke, some kunai and shuriken were thrown to block his path. Tenten landed in front of him, again blocking his path. She blushed and smiled a true smile when Naruto said, "Sweetheart, not now. As you can see, I am kinda in middle of going to beat the shit out of a certain red-eyed bastard. Sorry, Naruto-kun, but you know how I can't control myself when weapons like those are in the field," said Tenten, gesturing towards Naruto's weapons. "Will it help if I promised you will be able to see and touch them any time in the future?" said Naruto frankly. "Sadly, no, but I would like that very much," Tenten said. "Well, at least I tried," shrugged Naruto. Naruto shot forward at Tenten with neck-breaking speed. Tenten's eyes widened as his speed seemed faster than before. She used her bow staff to keep Naruto at bay and maintain distance between them. She was using all her strength to just get the staff to defend herself. Naruto was clearly the dominant one, as he always knew what Tenten will do next and will attack her weaknesses, forcing her to give up on attacking and just defend herself from the slaughter of attacks coming her way. Just as Naruto was going to stop Tenten by holding her wrist, a kunai fused with lightning chakra came sailing at him. The kunai was dangerously close to his temple, but Naruto's eyes quickly caught the movement, and he tilted his head a little to his right to let the kunai pass safely. When he again turned his head, he saw that Sasuke was about to throw another kunai laced in lightning chakra. When he predicted its trajectory, his eyes widened. Tenten was in the path of the kunai. Sasuke was not thinking about the safety of a comrade. If Naruto didn't do anything soon, then Tenten will be hit by the kunai. Decision made. Naruto moved forward and raised his left leg high. His thigh was touching his forehead. As soon as Tenten moved her staff to attack, Naruto buried the bow staff in the ground by bringing his leg down on it with monstrous strength. Due to the sudden movement of her opponent and sudden tug on her weapon, Tenten flew forward. Naruto quickly spun on his heel and caught Tenten in his embrace. Their faces were inches away from each other. Tenten was blushing up a storm as she felt a strong pair of arms encircle her waist and a rock-solid chest press to her own. Naruto, on the other hand, was completely focused on the incoming kunai thrown by Sasuke. He quickly laced his own right hand in lightning chakra and inserted his index finger in the ring of the kunai in midair and turned its direction in 180 degrees. The kunai sailed back at the other two kunai that were apparently Sasuke's backup plan. The kunai collided with one of the other two and stopped the attack, whereas Naruto used his chakra-covered hand to slap the last one away. Seeing the display made many shinobi to go in shock. Some of the kunoichis were in shock too, but for a different reason. Shinobi were shocked because the speed of a lightning kunai was very fast for normal ninjas, and slapping one away with bare hand was no normal feat. Kunoichis were shocked because Naruto was still keeping Tintin pressed to his chest with his left hand, and it didn't look like Tintin was trying to get free or, for the record, even wanted to. Start using that good-for-nothing brain of yours, Uchiha. Comrades are the most important weapon in a battle. No Dojutsu, Jujutsu, or Ninjutsu can replace them. A comrade is also the worst possible enemy. If a comrade turns on you in middle of a fight, then you are definitely done for. Guy, Lee, and Niji were now glaring daggers at Sasuke. If looks could kill, then Sasuke would be 10 meters deep in the ground by now. Sasuke was about to make another one of his stupid, elite Uchiha comment, but the killing intent leaking from Naruto made him think twice for once. Naruto now looked down at Tintin, whose eyes were closed dreamingly. Not that I am complaining, but we are in a stadium packed with the whole Konoha. This statement pulled her out of her dream world, and she started to sputter Kaya. A Gogoman Naruto-kun. I was just. Don't worry, I can understand. I usually get that kind of reaction from most of the girls. Tintin was so out of the moment that she never noticed her broken staff buried half-meter deep in the ground. Apparently, Naruto's leg strike proved to be too much for the staff, and it was now broken from where his leg strike connected. Leaving Tintin where she was still dreaming, Naruto again ran towards Sasuke. This time, no one tried or even dared to cross his path, as it was clear that Naruto was going to teach the Uchiha a lesson. When Naruto reached Sasuke, he used Chaos Angel and attacked the Uchiha furiously. Sasuke used a lightning-charged kunai to block the incoming strike, but as he was blocking Chaos Angel, the Hell's Fury appeared right on his left side. In desperate attempt to block the second sword, Sasuke was forced to reveal his trump card sooner than he intended. He applied his chakra at the seals situated at his wrist, and a sword appeared in his hand which he used to block Hell's Fury. Dope, you can't touch me as long as I have this sword. You are not the only one with legendary swords in this village. This is the legendary sword of Uchiha Madara. It was used against Hashirama a lot of times. This is an Uchiha heirloom, Dope. You cannot defeat me with this sword by my side. Both of them were forcing each other backwards, but it was clear that Sasuke was losing as his back was already on the wall of the stadium, and he was forced to place one of his knees on the ground to keep Naruto at bay. It is good that you know that that sword was used against Shodai Hokage, but what you don't know is that the sword used by Uchiha Madara was destroyed by Senja Hashirama in their final battle at the Valley of End, the very same valley where we fought 3 years ago. Sasuke was shocked by this statement, but dismissed it as another lie told to the outsiders of the clan by the Uchiha. This sword of yours is a cheap imitation of that sword made by your father Uchiha Fugaku. Here, take a good look at your weapons team, and you will see the power difference between us. Sasuke did as he was told and first observed his lightning kunai. The teeth of Chaos Angel were grinding the kunai, and it showed multiple cracks already. The kunai will not last for long, thought Sasuke. Then he turned to his left, and what he saw made his mind go numb. The Uchiha Madara's sword was melting due to the constant exposure to the heat generated by Hell's Fury. Right before his eyes, the sword melted, and its top end fell to the ground where it turned into a puddle of melted metal. Hell's Fury's obstacle gone, it rushed at Sasuke and buried itself deep in the stadium wall at the left side of Sasuke's head. Sasuke lost some of his signature duckbutt hair and received a nick at his ear and a deep gash on his shoulder. Soon the kunai turned to pieces, courtesy of Chaos Angel's teeth. Same happened on Sasuke's right, and he received another gash on his right shoulder. Naruto took his hands off of the handles of his both blades and said, "Stay here, team." Both the swords were buried deep in the stadium wall on both sides of Sasuke's head while going through his wounds on his shoulders. Sasuke wouldn't be coming back and fight for a while, as he wouldn't be able to get himself free without someone's help, which his Uchiha pride will never allow. Naruto took out his thunderstorm and a Hiraishin kunai and jumped into the frenzy of other shinobi present. 5 minutes later, a giggling Ino could be heard throughout the stadium as she was sitting on her, but in the middle of the arena with a chuckling Naruto by her side. The reason, you ask? Apparently Naruto, in thrill of the fight, had smacked Sakura's forehead with his gunbai. Said forehead was now swollen and it doubled in its size, hence making the two blondes roll on the ground because of the funny scene of a crying Sakura holding her swollen forehead in the middle of the fight. All the other shinobi were already defeated and Naruto was enjoying his food time, the pretty blonde beside him. Naruto was still chuckling when he realized that Ino was leaning on his chest for support. He was not surprised that he was enjoying the closure. Naruto was finding himself looking at the beautiful blonde a lot lately. Saying that he didn't find Ino attractive would be like saying, Jiraiya never peeped on women. Naruto, get your ass over here. I have something to discuss with you, said Tsunade in her Hokage tone. On hearing the Hokage's order, Naruto quickly used Sunshin to appear inside the Kage box. Tsunade quickly pulled him to a corner along with Jiraiya. What are the remaining 3 rounds based on? asked a worried Tsunade. 5th is based on ninjutsu. 6th on senjutsu, and the 7th on senjutsu, replied Naruto. Cancel the last 2 rounds. It will give out too much information about your abilities, which is not a good idea even if you're in Konoha, said Tsunade worriedly. Also, Naruto, don't reveal too much about your Dojutsu. People like Danzo may not sit tight if they found out how much power those blue orbs of yours contain, said Jiraiya. Alright, Bachan, Ero Sennin. I will only reveal a little information about my Dojutsu. If you don't mind, can I mix the ninjutsu and Dojutsu round? Said and asked Naruto simultaneously. Do whatever you want, but finish with all this humiliation of my top shinobi already, said an irritated Tsunade. As you wish, Bachan, said Naruto and Sunshine back to the arena. Back in the arena, everyone was now already standing together for the next round when Naruto appeared in a burst of blue flames in the middle of the arena. Sorry guys, but the Hokage has changed some rules, said Naruto grinning. What would those be, Naruto? Asked Kakashi. One of the rounds has been cancelled due to village security issues, and the remaining 2 rounds have been combined. Oh, alright then. Mind telling us about the last round? Asked an almost bored Shikamaru. Sure. Are you all ready for the last round? Hi. Final round. Ninjutsu and Dojutsu, Hajime. Wa was the thought of many present on the battlefield. Now those with Dojutsu, please step forward, said Naruto. Kakashi, a smug Sasuke, Neji, and Hinata stepped forward. Do you guys know how many Dojutsus are there in this world? Asked Naruto. All the villagers leaned forward to hear what the last Namikaze was saying. 2 was the united reply. And what are those? Byakugan and Sharingan. Surely you all would know their order of power? Now Hinata and Kakashi remained silent because they knew that it was disrespectful to say one of them was inferior to the other. Sharingan is the ultimate Dojutsu, said Sasuke smugly. No, it's Byakugan, came the reply of the Hyuga Prodige. All the questions I asked you were to check whether you knew about Dojutsus. I am sorry to say none of the answers were correct, said Naruto, shocking everyone in the stadium. What do you mean? I know Sharingan is the most powerful Dojutsu in existence, shouted Sasuke. Child, let me educate you, said Naruto and started to hover in the air. Everyone was wide-eyed at it. Some of the more experienced ones declared it a result of mastery on futon element. Naruto quickly sat in Indian style in the air and placed his eyes on everyone. The first question, how many Dojutsus are there in this world? Answer is 7. What is he babbling? I think the dope lost his mind after all, said Sasuke. I can name all of them in the order of their power if you want, said Naruto. When Sasuke and many others gave him a go, he started. The Sharingan and Byakugan are almost equal in power dash. As Sasuke and all the Hyugas present were going to object, Naruto stopped them with a wave of his hand. But the Sharingan gives its user the chance to copy infinite jutsus and continuously increase the power of its wielder, unlike Byakugan, which only gives its user almost 360-degree view and the ability to see chakra and tenketsu. Number 7 is Byakugan and number 6 is Sharingan. Now everyone forgot to protest as they were all wondering that if these 2 Dojutsus were least powerful, then which ones were the top 5. Number 5 is Manjikyu Sharingan, awakened when an Uchiha faces high emotional turmoil and pain. Wielded by Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Obito, and Hitaki Kakashi. Sasuke's eyes widened when he heard the correct way to awaken Manjikyu. He also heard that not just Itachi but Kakashi also had Manjikyu. Number 4 is Tenshinhan, level 2 of Byakugan. It requires a Hyuga to donate his or her eyes to a Tenma clan member. Power equal to a Biju is the main attraction about it. No one alive has it, but it was seen in the last century before the cage bird seal was adapted by the Hyugas. Now many Hyugas were proud as well as confused. Number 3 is Eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. It requires a close blood relative Uchiha to donate his or her Manjikyu eyes to another relative Manjikyu user. A long lifespan, almost as long as an Uzumaki's, is the main aspect of it. Last known wielder was Uchiha Madara. Sasuke was speechless. Maybe that's why Itachi left him alive. So that one day when he awakened his own Manjikyu, Itachi will be able to take his eyes and gain Eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Second last. Number 2 is Rinnegan, the supposed Dojutsu of the Sage of Six Paths, said to give the user power of a god. Last seen in an Orphan of Amige cure by Jiraiya of the Sennin, everyone was shocked at this. For one, the mythical eyes of the Sage of Six Paths really existed. Second, Drea of the Sennin found it in Amige cure. And thirdly, there was still one Dojutsu remaining which was supposed to be the most powerful of them all, even Rinnegan. What about the last one, Naruto-kun? Asked Ino. Naruto merely smiled at his fellow blonde and said, last and the most powerful of them all. Number 1 is Eternal Real Dojutsu of the Sennin, which he used to make the 9 Biju. The Dojutsu known to bestow the wielder with godlike powers. Powers yet to be seen by mankind. last known wielder was, or rather me. Silence, silence, silence. All hell broke loose. Chaos everywhere. No one moved from their spot, but their brains were going high wire. What? WDF? What hell? Were the common statements around the audience. In the Kage box, Danzo's eyes were wide. The demon brat with that much power was too good to waste, yet at the same time he was too dangerous to keep inside the village. Only if he could get his hands on those eyes. Jiraiya facepalmed at all this. It was a good thing that he did because Tsunade decided that instead of face-palming herself, she would feel much better by smacking Jiraiya across the face. Back in the arena, liar, there is no way you of all the people can wield such power dope/baka, said Sasuke/Sakura together. Naruto lifted his head to show his eyes. Pure metallic purple eyes. This is the eternal Rinnegan. If I was making up all that, then surely the Hyugas in the stadium could have easily spotted my lie with their Byakugan. Even if that was not the case, then you had your Sharingan active all the time. You can see that these eyes of mine are no Jinjutsu, said Naruto. Now this was something Sasuke will never refuse. So at the end of the day, Naruto was clearly declared victorious, and his new adventures were going to start from the next day. Next day, Namake's estate. When Naruto woke up, it was 6 in the morning. You would think it was early, but for Naruto, who was trained by a Biju and the Sannin, it was the time to wake up. After some light exercise and jog around the village outer boundaries, Naruto returned to his estate at 8:30. After shower and some ramen, Naruto was about to head out to ANBU headquarters when a knock was heard at his front door along with the doorbell ringing. When Naruto opened his door, he was greeted by an ANBU in bird mask. On seeing him, the ANBU quickly bowed to him and kneeled in front of him and said, "Commander, Namikaze-sama, your presence is requested by the Go Dame at her office immediately." Now that he thought about it, when he was going out to jog, he had noticed that there were ANBU stationed at his estate gates. So maybe they were accepting him as their commander already. "All right, I will be coming with you in a second," said Naruto as he went inside and came back wearing his shinobi sandals. He quickly turned and locked his gates, then said to the ANBU, "Shall we go?" And so both the shinobi took off at neck-breaking speed. Hokage Tower, Go Dame's office. All the rookie 12 minus Naruto were standing in front of the Go Dame Hokage of Konoha. They were summoned by their Hokage for some important announcement. Suddenly, Naruto and an ANBU appeared in the office. The ANBU bowed to Tsunade and said, "Hokage-sama, Commander is here as you requested." Tsunade dismissed the ANBU and turned to face all the people inside her office. Everyone was looking at Naruto, surprised that the ANBU were already giving him so much respect, but after the power he showed the last day at the stadium, it was to be expected. "All right, all of you are Jonins, except Sasuke and Sakura," started Tsunade. Sasuke was not allowed to participate in the Jonin exams for 5 years after his stun of running away from the village. As for Sakura, she was plain useless and only made it to Chunin because her teammates at the second Chunin exams were Ino and Choji. They did all the work while she only whined how it was so unfair to stop Sasuke to join her team even in Chunin exams. "Me and Jiraiya, along with your Jonin senseis, have decided to redistribute you guys in 3 cells of 4 members, each to increase the success rate of missions assigned to you." When no one said anything, she continued, "You guys will be known as Team Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Team Alpha will be led by Naruto and will consist of Ino, Neji, and Tenten. Naruto is known to have no weaknesses, and with Neji's defense and Tenten's weapons along with Ino's mind techniques, this team will be deadly." At this, the said team members nodded. Team Beta will be led by Shikamaru and will consist of Hinata, Lee, and Shino. With Shikamaru's leadership skills, Hinata's defense and medic knowledge, Lee's tremendous power along with Shino's Kakeichu techniques, you will perform outstanding. Second to only maybe Naruto's team. Lastly, Team Gamma will be led by a new member and will consist of Kiba, Choji, Sasuke, and Sakura. With Choji's strength, Kiba's damage, Sasuke's genjutsu, and Sakura's, well, whatever she is special in, this team will surely grow in the future. "Why do we have 5 members instead of 4, Hokage-sama?" asked Kiba. "It's because your team contains 2 Chunins instead of all 4 Jonins. The lead I mentioned earlier is an ANBU, so it will be sufficient." "Who is this leader you are mentioning, Hokage-sama?" asked Choji as he munched on another bag of chips. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door of the office. "It seems he is here," said Tsunade as she gave her permission of entry to the newest arrival. "Meet him. His name is Sai. He will be the squad leader of Team Gamma." Sai just smiled a creepy smile, which made Sakura wanting to hide behind Tsunade in fear. Kiba and Choji were weary of this new guy. Sasuke plain ignored him and continued to glare at Naruto, who was looking at Ino. Ino noticed Naruto's stare and immediately blushed. Hello, I am Sai. As everyone was going outside the office, Tsunade stopped Team Alpha and asked Naruto. Naruto, I realized that you are starting your service as the new military commander of Konoha from today. I know that you can use shadow clones to help you, but even you can sometimes act as an idiot. So I would like to ask you, would you like to nominate someone to be your secretary just like Shizen is for me? Naruto thought for a while then said, I want to strengthen the bonds of our newly formed team. So if they are okay with it, I would like to have Ino become my secretary and Tenten along with Niji to become my advisors and bodyguards. On hearing his request, Tsunade couldn't help but smile. You have grown, brat. Do you have any objection? Asked Tsunade. When all three behind Naruto gave their negative, she continued. Alright, so it's settled then. Do as Naruto say from now on. He will be the one to give you missions from now on, and I will only call you in emergencies. Hi, well you three should consider joining A and B now as it will benefit your team, said Tsunade, and then turned to Naruto. Naruto, I wanted to train you to become Rokudame after me, thus I have taken the liberty to shift your office from the A&B headquarters to the room beside this one. This wall here that separates both rooms is a triple-layered genjutsu. Both of us will be able to observe each other in this way. Now off you go to that office of yours, said Tsunade, annoyed with the smirking blonde in front of her. Inwardly, she was feeling like the proudest mother of the whole world for her Gaki. You have sure grown up, Naruto, into a young man just like Minato. Chapter 8. Getting started. The same day, Hokage Tower. Naruto was feeling quite light after the meeting with the Godame. He was debating with himself for a while now. Topic was the decision he made in the morning. He thought that it was important for his team to understand as well as trust each other. Some would think why he did not nominate Shikamaru for the post of his advisor. The reason was simple in his mind. Shikamaru was leader of Team Beta, the second strongest team formed in the morning. He would be occupied by the teamwork training with his new teammates. It was not as if Naruto was underestimating Shikamaru's strategic skills. Naruto was pretty much convinced that with him and Niji on the team, they would be able to function properly. After all, Niji was smart too, the rookie of the year of his session. His musing was interrupted by the arrival of Ino in his office. Ino was dressed in her usual purple clothing. When he caught sight of Ino, Naruto just stared at her and couldn't help but marvel at the sheer beauty she truly was. Namikaze-sama, I will be starting my job as your secretary from now. Is there anything you require? Asked Ino. Naruto could see that she was trying very hard to keep herself professional in front of him. She wanted to be the best secretary the handsome blonde could have gotten. Naruto frowned when she addressed him as Namikaze-sama instead of Naruto. Yes, my dear, I have one order, one request, and one question for you, said Naruto. Ino, who was not expecting this kind of reply, gave him her full attention. Anything you need, Namikaze-sama, she said again, encouraging him to explain himself. First, the request. Please call me Naruto, idiot, baka, or anything of your liking. Just don't use such formal names with me, said Naruto. Be but Namikaze-sama. Ino, you are a childhood friend, and I would like for you to behave like one with me. I don't want respectful bows from my close friends. At the word close friends, Ino quickly blushed and tried to hide her cheeks behind the folder she was holding. All right, Naruto. I'll much better. See, there is no more tension in the office now, is there? Naruto asked, smiling. What about the order and the question? I mean Naruto. Ino asked, stuttering a little. Yes, about the order. I want you to call a shinobi council meeting on my behalf in an hour. I have some things to discuss with the officials and the clan heads, answered Naruto. Ino nodded quickly, writing down the details of the order given to her. And for the question that I wanted to ask you. Actually, I have been playing with the idea for a while now. I wanted to ask you this from the first moment I saw you at my return from the trip. Yamanaka Ino would like to go out on a date with me? I don't know, let's say this evening. Naruto expected an answer in a matter of seconds, but Ino's brain was not responding after hearing the question. I am waiting for the reply, Ino, Naruto mentioned, which in turn jerked her brain back to functioning. Just as Naruto thought that he would now get the answer, Ino pulled a Hinata in front of him and fainted. Man, why do girls always faint in front of me? Naruto mentally complained. He sighed and made a hand motion. Tenten quickly appeared in front of him, ready to carry out any order her team leader will give here. Naruto sighed again at the stoic face of his other female teammate. It was clear that Tenten was upset with Naruto for asking Ino out instead of her. You heard what I said to Ino about the council, right? Asked Naruto. When Tenten only nodded, he became aware of the fact that he needed to handle this situation at the very moment. All right. Tenten, would you like to go on a date with me tomorrow evening? When Tenten gave him a suspicious look, he decided to elaborate. I am assuming that Ino was willing to go out with me, that's why I am occupied in the evening. But, as you know, I fall under the Clan Restoration Act. Hence I will need more than 4 wives at the very least. Now Tintin was dancing with joy in her mind, but kept her composure in front of Naruto. All right, I will go on a date with you, she said. Thanks, I guess. Anyways, please carry out the order I gave to Ino in her place, will ya? Naruto requested, scratching his head, grinning all the time. Tintin exited the office with a noticeable skip in her steps. When she was out of the office, Naruto stood up from his seat and made his way to Ino's body. He quickly lifted her off the floor and placed her on the office sofa in the corner of his office. He made sure that she would not fall off the sofa. When he was about to move back to his seat, he stopped and noticed how peaceful she looked sleeping, or in this case unconscious. You have grown into a fine female specimen. Maybe, just maybe, there could be more than just friendship between us. You know, Naruto, you two will make a fine couple. I am sure of it, Neji commented, suddenly appearing out of the shadows. Yeah, I know, but we will see where it leads us. I want to date the women I am going to marry in the future, replied Naruto. Yeah, but make sure to take Tintin on her date tomorrow evening. Try to give her some much-needed attention as well. She may look like a tomboy from outside, but in reality, she is as soft as a newborn infant, Neji advised, showing his concern for his longtime teammate. Naruto could only nod at it dumbly. He never knew Neji cared for Tintin so much. Well, everyone can change with time, and Neji was willing to change for the better. 1 hour later, Council Hall. Every clan head was present along with Tsunade. The elders were present as well. There was murmuring among the people present. Everyone was wondering why the AMBU commander felt like to call a shinobi council meeting on his first day in office. Suddenly, the gates of the hall flew open and in walked 10 people with their heads high. These were the civil councilors of Konoha. They walked inside the hall as they owned the very place. When they were seated in their side of the hall, one of them felt it necessary to open his mouth. Why were we, the civil councilors, not informed of this meeting? He demanded to know. Tsunade was about to answer the question when Hayashi answered for her. Because this is a shinobi council meeting. This is bullshit. We are counselors as well. We should be informed about every meeting. The clan heads just ignored this comment and started to talk among themselves. Suddenly, the ANBU on the gate said, so that everyone could hear. The ANBU commander, Namikaze-sama, is arriving. Naruto entered the halls and took his seat beside Tsunade and Shikaku, the Jonin commander. Neji and Tintin entered along with Ino. Ino went to stand behind Naruto and Neji, and Tintin disappeared in the shadows. Well, Naruto, will you mind telling us why you have called this meeting? Asked Tsunade. Naruto turned towards the civil side and frowned. What are you guys doing here? He asked with an edge in his voice. We are here because this is a council meeting, and you forgot to send the message to us, stated Mabuki Haruno. I didn't forget anything. You weren't needed here, Naruto declared in a bored tone. What? How dare you disrespect us? We are the council, boy. You don't have to tell us what to do, shouted an overly fat counselor. Shut the fuck up. You all are just dumb asses and already have a step in your grave. This is the last time I'm going to say this. Never, and I mean never, come to the council when not called. Otherwise, it will be my ANBU who will deal with you. Naruto promised with a look that made it clear he was deadly serious. The civil counselors shivered at the threat. It was clear that all the ANBU present in the hall would be more than happy to comply. Now then, if you will please tell me who is the one to inform you about this meeting, asked Naruto. The ANBU stationed at the gate, Borsan, Mabuki answered, shaking badly. Naruto turned his head towards the indicated ANBU. There he was, just near the entrance of the council hall. Bor, said Naruto in a very calm tone. The ANBU, on hearing the commander call him, appeared in front of Naruto, kneeling. Hi, Commander-sama. Why did you think that it would be a good idea to inform these counselors without consulting me? Asked Naruto in a threatening tone. When you ordered Tintin-san to inform only the clan heads and the elders, I thought that you must have forgot to mention the civil counselors and immediately left to inform them about the council meeting and its timing, the ANBU answered. Already expecting a promotion to ANBU captain. So, let me get this straight. You eavesdropped on the conversation of your superior. Left your post of duty without an order. Risked the confidential information about a shinobi meeting. The ANBU paled at what his superior pointed out. All in all, you made 3 grave mistakes. For every mistake I will demote you once. Now the ANBU had a look of horror on his face behind the mask. For first from ANBU to Jonin, for second from Jonin to Chunin, and for third from Chunin to Jinin. Before the ANBU could say anything, Naruto motioned with his hand and 2 ANBUs appeared and took away the newly demoted Jinin. All the civilians were looking at Naruto in fear, whereas all the ANBU swore, then and there, that they will never go against their new commander. I take that this new Jinin will not pose any problem to you, Hokage-sama, asked Naruto, inclining his head towards the door. Not at all, Naruto. I can use a genin of an Ambu's caliber, replied Tsunade. She was proud of how Naruto handled the situation and made sure that the civil council will know their places in the future. Now, as you all civilians are already here, get on with your whining, said Tsunade. Hokage-sama, the Uchiha clan, with the support of the civil council, demands that Uzumaki-san is ordered to hand over the 3 weapons to Sasuke-sama. The weapons he used are too much powerful to be wielded by someone like him. Only an elite, like Sasuke-sama, should wield it, said Mabuki Haruno. She was still upset with Naruto for declining Sakura for the Clan Restoration Act. Those swords and gubai are family heirloom. I said the same during the battle. I'm not going to repeat it. Sasuke will not be able to wield them because someone with so much hatred in their heart cannot even lift any of those weapons. That is the first security feature of the weapons, Naruto pointed out, glaring at Mabuki and leaking killing intent. The killing intent leaked by Naruto was so heavy that cracks started to appear on the floor and walls. Seeing that Naruto was getting angry, Ino placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. The killing intent instantly disappeared and Naruto took a deep breath and leaned back in his seat. He turned around and gave Ino a grateful smile. Tsunade saw all this and smirked inwards. You too, huh? Good for you, Gaki. At the failed attempt, another counselor burst out. But Sasuke-sama is the Uchiha clan head. He was cut short when Tsunade started. He is not a clan head. Either the conditions for that position are an age of at least 18 years or second, the person must be a jonin. Sasuke does not fulfill any of the requirements. At this, all the counselors turned their heads towards Naruto. Naruto just raised an eyebrow and asked, "What? Why are you here then?" asked Mabuki. "Do I look like a clan head?" Naruto asked back. When most of them nodded, he sighed. "I am a council member because I am the ANBU commander, not as the clan head of either Uzumaki or Namake's clan," Naruto answered in a bored tone. When no one said anything, Naruto started to become impatient and suddenly said, "If that's all the civil council wanted to discuss, then I would like to request them to leave the chamber now. The Shinobi Council meeting is about to commence." Before any civilian could protest, ANBU guards appeared and escorted them out. Now Namake's Dano, what was the real reason for this meeting, if I may ask? Asked Hayashi in his ever-stoic tone. Yes, Hayashi-san. You see, I just took over the office today morning. So as any new commander, I started to go over the stats of our military. Everyone nodded. It was common sense for any new commander to know about his military. I noted that even if our military power is second to none, we still have a small shinobi corps and ANBU foundation. Everyone was shocked to hear it. For their village to have small military prowess was a depressing problem. If the information and details of the fall of military prowess of Konoha were to reach Kumo, or worse, IWA, then it would be disastrous. What do you mean? Surely Konoha's military power is not that bad? Koharu inquired. It is, advisor. I checked and found out that the death rate of Konoha shinobis is gradually increasing. Currently we have 1,000 Genin, 700 Chunin, 400 Jonin, 100 Elite Jonin, 50 Tokubetsu Jonin, and 300 Ambus. Overall, we only have about 2,500 shinobis. That was quite low. Even after the Kyuubi attack, the village had 3,000 shinobis ready to fight. The level of Konoha's power was surely declining. But I have a solution for that, Naruto announced, ready to play his trump card. What would that be, Namake-sama? Hamura asked, suddenly respectful towards the blonde. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the respect but replied, I can raise the numbers to 5,000. What? How? Tell us, came the demand from everyone. Even Danzo was interested in what the blonde was planning. First, I want a certain force under my control, Naruto stated. Everyone started to think what force was he talking about. Then suddenly Shikaka realized something. Don't tell me you are talking about the power of the Kyuubi, he asked. Everyone gasped at this. The power of Kyuubi was like a nightmare. If the blonde gained control over the said power, then he will be unstoppable. No, not that power, even though I can already control it. I want dash. His eyes scanned everyone in the hall and suddenly he stopped at Danzo. Root. Danzo's eyes widened. How? How can this boy know about his root? Root is a secret organization, hidden from the world, hidden from Konoha. I created it for my own purpose, Danzo thought frantically. Tsunade clenched her fists, her blood was boiling, and she was leaking heavy killing intent. She turned her head and glared at the elders, especially Shimura Danzo. That old bag of rotten bones managed to keep his organization's dirty works hidden from her. That piece of shit, she will enjoy giving Naruto control of Root. Everyone else was murmuring among each other. The Root was ordered to be disbanded by the Yondaime before his sacrifice, and the Sandaime did the paperwork for the order. If Root was still functioning, which from the look of Naruto, Danzo, and Tsunade it was, then Danzo was in deep shit. What do you mean, boy? Root has been disbanded for years now. Danzo declared through clenched teeth. This was a tight situation for him. If Naruto proved that his root was still functioning in the shadows after the disbanding orders by not one but two previous Hokages, he will be doomed. Oh, if you are confident that root is no longer in the picture, then you can easily answer this. Why do we only have 2,500 shinobi in the village when there are 3,500 registered as a professional shinobi in the civil records? Naruto asked firmly. Tsunade was confused at this question. So were the clan heads. What do you mean Namikaze Dano? Asked Inoichi. When I saw the number of our shinobi, I called for the civil records. To my astonishment, there are about 3,500 shinobi registrations, excluding the missing Nins and retired ones. Now 2,500 Sato village shinobi plus 500 border patrolling shinobi of Konoha. 3,000 in total. The remaining 500 are. Naruto looked towards Danzo with narrowed eyes. Everyone followed his gaze towards a sweating Danzo. I will repeat it once, and only once. Hand over the command of root to me. Naruto demanded in a calm, yet threatening tone. I will not give you my root. Yes, the root is still functional. But don't you all forget that it is my root which is responsible for Konoha being the most powerful Sato. It was root which dealt with the most shinobi in Orochimaru's invasion and dash. And it was root which helped Orochimaru flee in the end of the invasion. All because you wanted to become Godame. Don't push me, Danzo, or I will not hesitate in revealing all the dark secrets about you and those bandages of yours, shouted Naruto, finally losing his cool and standing up from the seat. Danzo paled at the mention of his bandages. Surely, this brat wouldn't know about his most guarded secret. Still, Danzo was in no position to counter Naruto's words. After glaring at Naruto for a full minute, all the while leaking killing intent aimed at the blonde, he finally asked, what do you intend to do with root? I'm going to use it to take over a village. This made the already shocked council go wild. What? What do you mean? Take over a village? Shouted a baffled Aburame Shibi. Chaos. The judgment day is here. And Aburame, especially Shibi, shouted. This made Akimichi Choza to suck in his belly, Shikaku to wake from his council nap, and Inuzuka Tsum to cry in disbelief. Inoichi started to slap himself to get him out of this dream, whereas nearly half of others present started to make ram seals and shout, Ki, Ki, Ki. Damn it, what a powerful genjutsu, for Christ sake kkkidai. Naruto was finding it quite funny. Tsunade had a look of stupidity on her face. All this turned back to normal when Hayashi let out a girlish scream. Kaya. All present deadpanned at the behavior of the clan heads. Cough cough. I apologize. I thought MY Byakugan was caught in a genjutsu. Everyone's sweat dropped at this. Most of them shot him a look of, yeah right, punk. As I was saying before, the ahem, certainly entertaining show, I need root to take over a village. When Tsunade started to open her mouth, Naruto stopped her. I was saying that there is a small village in the east of Konoha called the Crop Village. Everyone nodded at this. They had heard about the village. That village was going to make an alliance with Konoha when they suddenly stopped sending replies to Konoha's hawks. Yes, their leader, Sabaki-san, was in Konoha last year to form an alliance, but they suddenly stopped responding to our messages, Tsunade confirmed. That's because Sabaki-san is dead, Naruto stated as a matter of fact. What? How? When? Asked a shocked Tsunade. 10 months ago, an AIM shinobi claiming to be a student of Hanzo the Salamander came to the village and challenged Sabaki-san. I don't have to tell you the outcome. In the end, I will use root to gain control of that village, and we will get resources as well as a military boost of 1,500 shinobis. That is a good idea, but what will you do about shinobi duties? They are still quite a distance away from Konoha, asked Shikaku. What about we let the village shift in the back of the Hokage monument? Asked Naruto. We do have a lot of extra land there. It will solve the distance problem and will also make them feel safer under the protection of Konoha, Tsunade pondered. When everyone nodded and signaled their agreement, Tsunade made it an official decision of council. She will do the paperwork later. Then from now on, root is to follow Naruto's orders, not Danzo's. Is that clear? She announced, looking at Danzo. His plan is good and in benefit of Konoha. All right, I will stick with them for now. Danzo mentally calculated and replied. Clear. Good. Anything else? When no one said anything, she turned towards Naruto. I will meet you in your office later in the day, Hokage-sama. Naruto promised before she had to voice it. She nodded and dismissed the meeting. Everyone was relieved for the end of the meeting, as the shocks they received in today's meeting were more than enough to keep them occupied for a month. An hour later, Naruto's office. Naruto was seated in his office. It was 1 in the afternoon, and the sun was over the head of everyone. He yawned and decided to go for lunch and catch up with his friends. He motioned Tintin from the shadows. She appeared in front of him. "Tinchan, please call every friend of mine to Ichiraku's stand. I want to catch up with everyone." "All right, Naruto-kun," said Tintin, smiling. Just as she was about to turn, a Root Anbu appeared in front of Naruto in kneeling position. "Namikaze-sama, Root is ready for you to take under your command." Tintin narrowed her eyes at the new arrival. There was something familiar with this Anbu. But before she could dwell on it anymore, Naruto ushered her to carry out her order. Once Tintin was gone, Naruto turned towards the Anbu and said, "Sai, how are you?" The Anbu stiffened. How can Naruto know about his identity? He was an elite root operative, for crying out loud. Upon noticing the surprise of the Anbu, Naruto smirked inwards. "Don't be surprised. I have a habit to notice tiny details. What gave you away was your skin. I have only seen one person with that kind of skin. You are one of a kind, that's for sure." Sai could only stare stoically at his new commander. Naruto noticed that Sai was not interested in friendly chit-chat. "All right, I will not keep you waiting. Go find Yamato in the Hokage's office next door and ask him what to do. I have already told him what the first few missions for Root are. Come back tomorrow morning. I have something to discuss with you." Sai only bowed and disappeared in thin air. Naruto only sighed for almost 100th time today. This is proving to be a long day. Naruto quickly gathered his belongings from his desk and motioned Neji and Tintin to follow him. While leaving the office, he turned to one of the ENBU guarding his office entrance. "I am going out for lunch. If someone comes looking for me, tell them to get an appointment for tomorrow." The ANBU nodded and replies, "HAI." Naruto turned to leave, only to stop in his tracks. Neji and Tintin also turned to inquire his reasons. "Did you have lunch?" Naruto asked. "Not yet, sir. I have this post assigned to me until late evening," replied the ANBU. "Well, then have someone replace you while you have your lunch. I don't want my ninjas to skip meals or go on dieting now, do I?" Naruto asked jokingly. On watching the ANBU hesitate, Naruto came forward and placed a supportive hand on his shoulder. "What is your name?" "Sir, I know you are not allowed to reveal your name, but I insist." Kudo Hamaru, sir." "All right, Kudo-san. I order you to have your lunch in the next half an hour." The ANBU's eyes widened behind the mask and he stuttered. "Hi. Yes, sir." "Good. Now if you go, I will leave a clone to do the work in my stead. I look forward to seeing your skills in battlefield, Kudo-san," Naruto stated, and left with his two friends in tow. Naruto never managed to get the glimpse of horror on the face of the ANBU. Unknown to him, after what he did to the ANBUs in his trial battle, no sane ANBU would try to test her abilities against him. After some time, at Ichiraku's ramen stand, Naruto reached his favorite ramen stand in 10 minutes with both his friends. When he arrived, he was greeted by the sight of all of his friends sitting at a large table in the restaurant. Apparently, Ichiraku has expanded their business while Naruto was away on his training trip. Now it was a 2-story restaurant with a small staff of 5 waiters and waitresses. Old man Ichiraku also employed a new pair of chefs to help him in the kitchen. Ayam could be seen sitting at the entrance to welcome the customers. "Here, Naruto-kun," Ino called out, waving her hand over her head to signal their position. Naruto joined everyone on the large table in the middle. There were Team 10, Team 9, and Team 8 along with their senseis. The only member of Team 7 present was Kakashi. "So, not that I am complaining, but why did you call us over here, Naruto?" asked Asuma with a cigarette between his lips. At this, everyone turned their heads towards Naruto, who gave a nervous chuckle. "Well, you see, I was gone for a couple of years or so. Thus, I wanted to know about what happened in Konoha during my training trip. I wanted to know about the achievements you all made and special occasions that I should know about." Everyone nodded at the logic. It was good to know that even if Naruto was now a force to reckon with on the battlefield, he was still the caring friend they all knew. "Oh, I will tell you, Naruto-kun. What about our Chunin exams?" Ino asked excitedly. Naruto just shrugged and nodded. "I am all ears, Ino-chan." And so Ino started the story about how they all took the Chunin exams again. Sasuke was promoted by the council just after the invasion, thus leaving only Sakura on Team 7. As Shikamaru was promoted as well, Team 10 was down by 1 member too. Hence, Tsunade assigned Sakura to Team 10 for the Chunin exams. Fortunately, there were no preliminaries this time, and they all made it to the finals. In the finals, they fought some very powerful genins of foreign villages and succeeded in pulling through it. And then the next day, Tsunade-sama called us to Hokage Tower, where we received our Chunin vests. "Oh, I see. I know I am late by about 2.5 years, but congrats everyone. You all earned that promotion, Naruto congratulated, giving them a true smile. Everyone nodded and thanked him for his words. Suddenly, Ino jumped and pointed at Naruto. You never told us about your Chunin exams. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that. Sorry, Ino. Everyone. The information regarding my promotions are confidential. Can't tell you even if I want to. Before Ino could say anything else, Kakashi suddenly stood up and asked, Everyone, mind if I borrow Naruto for a moment? When everyone shrugged, he motioned Naruto to follow him to a nearby table. When both of them were at the table, Kakashi began. Naruto, I don't know how to say this, but I am very sorry for being the type of sensei I was to you. I know I neglected you and only focused on Sasuke, and for that I am sorry. Kakashi watched as Naruto's face remained expressionless. Not that Kakashi expected him to show any. Sighing, Kakashi continued, I always wanted to teach you too. Believe me, I really did. But the council stopped me from doing so. They ordered me to only train Sasuke and stunt your progress as a ninja. I wanted to train you so much, as I knew that you were my sensei's son, but they wanted to make sure that the last loyal pair of Sharingan remained in Konoha. They threatened to transfer you to another team. I couldn't allow that, as your new sensei may have been one of those demon haters. I know I am a terrible teacher and I dash. Naruto suddenly interjected. Sensei, you taught me something very important. Those who abandon rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. That is something a terrible teacher cannot hope to teach. You taught me teamwork. You did what you could, and that's enough for me. Kakashi only felt pride on hearing his student's words. Thank you, Naruto. Thank you very much. My life is full of failures, and I lost many dear ones due to said failures. But I will not fail you. If you ever need me for anything, I mean anything, just call me. Actually, there is something I want from you, Naruto mentioned, smiling. Kakashi was surprised but composed himself. Of course. What do you want from me? Naruto just smiled. I want your word that you will join the ANBU under my command. Kakashi was shocked. He left ANBU so that he could forget about his failures. The same reason he joined in the first place. But if joining the ANBU back would help Naruto in any way, then he will do it. He owed Naruto that much at the very least. Okay, just for you. I will rejoin the ANBU. Good. It's good to hear that from you, sensei. Now I can finally see the legendary Sharingan no Kakashi as the feared Konoha ANBU Captain Inu. Ah, so you know about my career's past. So when do I start? What about now? Naruto asked, smiling. Wait, are you serious? Of course, now after the party, haul your ass to my office and receive your uniform from my clone. All right, I will. And your first mission is to kill the ANBU guarding my office doors. Chapter 9. The man named Himura Senki Eyes. Beta, White Angel of Orelon. Naruto was standing in front of a one-way observation glass in Konoha's interrogation department. On the other side of the glass was Kudo, or what was left of him. The very same ANBU Naruto ordered to be eliminated. Kakashi was going to kill the ANBU as ordered, but Naruto then asked him to capture him instead. You never know what a good spy can provide you with after all. Tsunade was standing beside him with a grave expression on her face. She could never believe that a spy will be found inside her ANBU forces. From the look of it, Kudo may have been a sleeping cell. Sighing, she turned towards Naruto. Naruto noticed her action and already knew what she wanted to know. How did you dash? I have my ways, Bachan. She just narrowed her eyes at the blonde commander. And these ways of yours are? She questioned. You won't leave the topic until I tell you, right? Do I have to repeat myself, Naruto? Asked an annoyed Godame. Fine. When I started a friendly conversation with the guy over there this afternoon outside my office, he was trying to act professionally. So to investigate, I asked him his name. He refused to tell me the name, even though as the ANBU commander I already know every ANBU by their real name. Tsunade was puzzled. The brat was not telling the important info. Just get to the point, Naruto. All right. Geez, give me a break. Anyways, I placed my hand on his shoulder while requesting his name again. My hand on his shoulder was taken as an intimate gesture by him, and he started to sweat. He was scared and spilled the beans by telling me his real name. Kudo Himura. Tsunade leaned in, and the Himura clan is a resident clan of AIM. No Himura can be found in Haino Kuni, much less in Konoha. I'll just cut the crap. In the end, the result is in front of you. An AIM spy and form a bloody mess. Tsunade was gaping openly now. Just a hand on the shoulder and boom, game over. Naruto was never going to stop surprising her. Kakashi was standing in the corner, discussing the result of interrogation with Ibiki. Apparently, Kudo was in Konoha for about 2 years. He was already leaking confidential information for months now. Maybe that was the reason behind the increased attacks on Konoha squads outside the walls of Konoha. He also confirmed that he was going to leak the information regarding Naruto and his heritage as well as position in 2 days. Kakashi turned towards the Godame and the ANBU commander to inform them about the results. After the briefing from Kakashi, Naruto thanked him and turned towards the door. He was about to go and prepare for his date with Ino in the evening but was stopped when Anko came in the room. After Ibiki was finished with Kudo, Anko had insisted that she wanted to use some of her tricks on him. It was a good decision that Tsunade allowed it because from the look on Anko's face she found something important. "What is it?" Anko asked Tsunade as Naruto stopped at the door with his hand on the knob. He said that he was sent here by an Nin. Apparently, the same Nin who now rules Crop Village. Tsunade's eyes widened. If what Anko said was true, then this Nin was a disturbing character. To have the balls to plan to spy in the most powerful military establishment of elemental nations. This guy was either very dangerous or a big fool. Naruto, on the other hand, was getting angry. The situation of Crop Village was getting out of control. This new leader was something else that Naruto knew. This type of action from him required a serious action from Konoha's side as well. "Anything else, Anko?" asked Naruto seriously. Tsunade now knew that Naruto was going to do something. "Yeah. He also said something about his father going to make us pay for what we did to him." "His father?" asked Kakashi. "Yeah. It seems that he is the son of the new leader of Crop Village. He told me his father's name. Something like Hemaru Senkei." "Hemaru Senkei?" Naruto muttered under his breath. Tsunade noticed this reaction on his part and questioned. "You know him?" "No, I don't. I just remembered a report of Jiraiya Sensei's spy network. It was reported that a guy named Hemaru Senkei was trying to gain a position in Akatsuki a couple of years back," Naruto answered, earning shocked and concerned looks from everyone present. "Well, now we know that they refused him, eh?" said Kakashi, chuckling. Naruto chuckled as well, but stopped on noticing the glare both of them were receiving from an enraged Tsunade. "If you two are done fooling around, shall we discuss our next course of action?" asked Tsunade. "Not here, Bachan. Let's head to my office first, shall we?" Naruto suggested. On Tsunade's approving nod, Naruto quickly grabbed all 3 of them and disappeared in a flash. Naruto's office. 5:40 p.m. Naruto appeared in a flash with his passengers. Naruto was greeted by the sight of Neji pacing around in his office with a frown on his face. On seeing Naruto appear in a flash, Neji started to complain. "Naruto, you little sh-." Neji quickly controlled himself on seeing Tsunade there and coughed. "Naruto, where were you for the last hour?" "I was getting pounced by questions from everyone," the annoyed Hyuga complained. Naruto chuckled nervously and apologized for his absence. "Gomen Neji, I was the interrogation department of Konoha. Some important stuff came up, so I want you to go and get Ino and Tenten here. I want to discuss something with you all." Neji realized the seriousness of the situation and quickly nodded before disappearing in a leaf shunshin. Naruto signaled the root ANBU in his room to fetch Sai as well, and the ANBU disappeared in shadows after receiving his orders. "What are your intentions with this situation, Naruto?" asked Kakashi. Tsunade nodded as well and turned towards her successor for some answers. "I think this action on Hemaru's behalf needs a serious retaliation from Konoha. We are the most powerful hidden village out of the Great Five. Something like this should not be ignored by us. Bachan will agree with me on this one," Naruto stated in a grave tone with a frown on his face. "Even so, what are you trying to do? From what I know, we must discuss this with the council and use a democratic approach to handle this situation," Tsunade commented. "This is no longer a democratic matter, Bachan. It's far from it now, and I will handle it personally. That you are forgetting what was discussed in the last council meeting." "Why I asked for root," replied Naruto. Tsunade's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes. We are taking down Crop Village. This will be a joint operation between ANBU Black OPS and Root. Himmer bit off more than he can chew. It's time we remind him why Konoha is feared throughout the elemental nations. I will make an example out of him for the rest of the world. No one messes with Konoha as long as I am here," said Naruto. Before Tsunade could say anything, Squad Alpha's remaining 3 members walked in along with Sai. All 4 of them stood in attention in front of the village leader and their commander/squad leader. Naruto ignored them for a second and turned towards Tsunade. "I will still need your approval for this type of military action, Hokage-sama," said Naruto in a professional tone. Tsunade toyed with the idea for a while. On one hand, this action will not sit well with Kumo and IWA. They were sure to take it as an offending or alarming military move. Konoha could not afford that right now. On the other hand, this kind of military breach was alarming as well. Konoha praised itself on its superior defenses as well as security, courtesy of the late Uzumaki clan. If she stopped Naruto now, Konoha would save the peace, but the danger of an infiltration or worse, invasion would increase. They were not going to experience another repeat of Chunin exams, not on her watch. If she allowed Naruto his plan, then they would receive more military power, which was never a bad thing for a hidden village. Even though there would be some tension between the Great Five, but Crop Village was in High no Kuni. No one would be able to blame Konoha for anything. She had made her decision. All right, I give you my permission, but this assignment will remain a S-ranked secret until it is over. Definitely, as you wish, Naruto confirmed, and then turned towards the four shinobi and immediately got their attention. Naruto turned towards Sai and said, "Go and tell your route to prepare for the task we discussed at the afternoon. We are going to head out tonight. Meet us outside the walls of the north side of the village." Sai nodded. "Hi. Right away, sir," said Sai, and he disappeared in a leaf shunshin. Naruto turned towards his squad mates. "Sorry, girls, but our dates will have to wait. This is a matter of village security. I hope you understand." Naruto apologized. When both the girls nodded, he continued. "Today, we discovered an AIM spy in our shinobi ranks, and not just on any post. An AMBU agent," Naruto explained, gaining looks of shock and surprise from his friends. He was captured by Kakashi-sensei and later interrogated by Ibiki and Anko. "We found out that he was the reason behind the increased attacks on Konoha shinobi squads outside the village. He also confirmed that he was going to leak information regarding my heritage and position in 2 days." Niji interjected. "Then it is good that we got him before he could do that." "Yes, that's true, but the main information that we got from him was that he is the son of Himura's Senkei, an S-ranked AIM missing nin. This Senkei character is the same guy who now rules the Crop Village. So let me get this straight. This AMBU that Kakashi-sensei caught was a spy working for his father, who is apparently the dictator of the Crop Village, who thinks he can get away with infiltrating the security of Konoha." Tintin listed slowly. "Yeah, that sums it up," said Naruto. "And we are supposed to do what?" Ino asked. "We are going to take down this shithead named Himuru Senkei." "Yeah, well, mind telling us how are we going to take down a man who will obviously surrounded by tons of shinobi?" asked Tintin. "That's why we are bring Root with us, Tin-chan," Naruto answered. When everyone looked at each other a straight minute, Niji finally asked, "So, what are we supposed to do now?" Naruto smiled. "Go to your place and start packing for a week-long mission. I will meet you all at the North Gate midnight." All three of them nodded and politely left through the door. Once the three shinobi were gone, Naruto turned towards Tsunade again. Kakashi was leaning on the wall behind Naruto's seat and Tsunade sitting in the said AMBU commander's seat. Not that Naruto minded it. She leaned back in the chair and said/asked, "So, you planning to go for a week, huh? Pray tell who is going to handle the commander position until then." "Why, Kakashi-sensei, of course," stated an amused Naruto. Kakashi nearly fell from his position on the wall. What the dash, he stuttered. "Don't worry, sensei. It's nothing difficult. Trust me, you will do fine," Naruto assured, barely holding back his laughter at his sensei's horror-struck face. "And how would you know that?" "Today was your first day as the AMBU commander," Kakashi shot back. "And tomorrow will be yours," quit the chuckling Naruto. Yeah, whatever," muttered Kakashi under his breath. Then he turned towards Tsunade hopefully. "Tsunade-sama, surely you understand that I am not suited for this job. I must be on the assigned team, right?" Tsunade was quite amused by the look on Kakashi's face. She turned towards the other two shinobi in the room and smirked towards the masked ninja. "I think it would be a nice assignment for you to get back your ass in top gears, don't you think, Kakashi?" Now Kakashi was crying anime tears in the corner of the room, all the while mumbling about sadist blondes and their antics. Konoha, Northgate, 11:57 p.m. All the shinobi assigned to the mission were assembled in front of the gates. Team Alpha was checking the gears and supplies for the last time before heading out on the week-long mission. Tsunade was present along with Kakashi. The blonde Hokage was there to give her surrogate son her best wishes. This was his first mission as the AMBU commander, and she will be damned if she didn't show up to see him off. Said surrogate son was on the top of the gates, stretching his legs. After a couple of minutes, Naruto jumped down and made his way towards the group. "Everyone ready?" he asked the group of ninjas. "Hi," came the reply of his squad mates. He smiled and then turned towards Tsunade, who came forward and hugged him. "Take care, Naruto, and please be safe," she said after releasing him from the hug. "See you in a week, Bachan," Naruto replied, grinning. She just nodded as Naruto turned towards Kakashi. "Show them the strength of Konohagakure, Naruto, and show them what a Namikaze can do," Kakashi commented, giving him a thumbs up. Naruto nodded and gave his sensei a hug, which Kakashi was more than happy to return. And don't read that orange book if you're in my office, sensei, or I will get Bachan to ban those from the village, Naruto threatened and chuckled on seeing Kakashi go pale. Hee, I'll make sure to keep that in mind, said Kakashi nervously. Finally, Naruto turned towards his team. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's give them hell, Naruto declared as he took off towards the crop village, his team soon following behind. Soon the team vanished in the forest surrounding the great hidden village, and Tsunade turned towards Kakashi. What do you think, Kakashi? Was it right on my behalf to permit this assignment? Asked the Godame. I don't know that. I am no village leader. But what I do know is that Minato-sensei would have said, one must sacrifice her safety so that the next generation can be protected. He would have done the same. I am sure about that, said the famed Sharingan wielder. Tsunade just nodded and walked off. After all, the Yondaime was the most legendary ninja in the history of Konoha, and if this is what he would have done, then she was satisfied with her decision. With Team Alpha, after 5 minutes, Naruto and company were going at a mid-pace towards the crop village. There was a comfortable silence between the team. They were traveling in the night, and it was quite hard to see, as the trees were preventing any moonlight from entering the canopy. Neji and Naruto had their Byakugan activated to guide the team in the dark. They were out in the forest only for 5 minutes now when Neji suddenly stopped. There are about 50 shinobi coming towards us at high speed. All high Jonin level. What are the orders, Naruto? He inquired. Stand down. They are Root Ambu. They are here to accompany us. They will handle the village shinobi while we take out Himuru, replied Naruto. Everyone nodded and stopped to wait for their allies. Soon there were 50 shinobi kneeling in front of Naruto. The one in the front said, Root Division has sent us to assist you in the mission, Namikaze-sama. We will perform to our best of abilities. All of us are yours to command. Naruto nodded and said, Good. Now let's reach the crop village in the next 3 hours. You will camp outside, while me and my team will infiltrate the village directly. Hi. And so, the not-so-small group of shinobis took off to the trees. Their destination, the crop village. The crop village, 3:04 p.m. Same night. The shinobis reached their destination easily without encountering any patrolling teams of the small village. Naruto could see the small village surrounded by fields of farmers from his position on a nearby hill. The village was quite small, but held great power over nearby lands. There was a river flowing from the middle of the village, which was clearly used to water the crop, if the small canals were anything to go by. Finishing his first inspection, Naruto turned towards the apparent leader of the Root Ambu group. We will be going into the village now. Make a camp here in the shed of trees and set traps around the area. According to the information that Spy gave us, he was supposed to leave the scroll containing the information over that side of the village walls. The Ambu nodded attentively. His new commander was rumored to give special kind of punishments after all. Naruto continued. Capture whoever comes to fetch the scroll. Interrogate and terminate. Am I clear? Hi. Good. We will strike tomorrow night. Keep your shinobi ready. With that, Naruto vanished along with his team outside the gates of Crop Village. For 32 p.m., the guard was still asleep when he suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Jumping to consciousness, he ran towards the gates to check the road leading towards the village. What he saw made him stop. There in the front of the gates stood 4 people, all adorning long black coats with hoods drawn. From the look of it, 2 of them were females if the curves he was seeing were right. He cautiously approached them. Who are you, and what is your business in the Crop Village? No one answered. The guard became annoyed and asked again. Hey, I asked you something. Who are you, and what is your business in the Crop Village? The one in the front came forward and said, Can't you tell? We are here to murder your leader, of course. The guard's eyes grew wide and he moved to bring out his kunais. But before he could even reach his weapon's pouch, a hand roughly grabbed his collar, and he found himself staring in the blood-red color of a pair of Sharingan. It seems Naruto was just having fun before the real mission. Soon the guard stopped struggling and moved aside with a glazed look in his eyes. You may enter, said the guard in a monotone voice. Naruto placed his hand on the guard's chest and pushed him backwards. The guard fell in his seat and fell asleep in an instant. The group entered the village without any more disturbance. They soon found an inn and entered the said establishment. There was a young woman sleeping on the counter. Ino woke her up and rented 2 rooms for 3 nights, one for boys and one for girls. Once everyone was settled, they decided that they would start to gather some information in the morning and went to sleep. Next day. The next day was spent collecting information by the whole team. Neji and Tintin went to the west and south sides of the village, whereas Naruto and Ino went to the east and north. They found out that this Himuru Sankei lived in the great mansion in the middle of the military district of the village. He had an army of servants to work for him. He always had bodyguards around him and never once had anyone tried to attack him. He claimed to be a student of Hanzo the Salamander. He liked to live a luxurious life. He was fond of women and was famous to abduct females from the crop village as well as nearby villages. This last bit of information made Naruto's blood to boil. He hated this kind of guys with his very being. To think a guy could treat women as a trophy and throw them out after his lust was extinguished. Naruto swore then and there that this guy was going to die a very painful death. He would make sure of it. Ino was also furious about this piece of information, but her reaction paled in comparison to Naruto's. That's why, instead of expressing her anger, she decided to help Naruto calm down. Apparently, they were the ones to find out about this side of the dictator, and so the reactions were clearer. In the evening, they decided to head back to the Root Camp to discuss their findings. That evening, Forest Hill, Root Camp. Team Alpha were in the Root A and BU camp, going over the plans of attack once more. The shinobi that we captured and interrogated told us nothing of major importance or anything that we didn't already know. You really didn't get any information from the guy? Asked Naruto, irritated. Well, he said that Himuru is going to announce himself as the king of the village tomorrow morning outside his mansion. We judged it as useless information, that's why I skipped it, said the Root A and BU. This got Naruto thinking. This guy thinks he can just barge into the Hino Kuni, Konoha's territory, and claim a village as his own. Over all this, he had the balls to try and declare himself king or ruler of the said village. Naruto was going to make him eat those thoughts of his tonight. All right, we will strike at midnight. Root will take care of the guards and servants. Me and my team will take care of the Himuru bitch. Everyone nodded and started to prepare for the final assassination. Naruto turned towards the Root operatives and motioned them to assemble in front of him. Remember, these shinobi will soon be serving Konoha's will of fire, so no killing. Just knock them out, or if a fight breaks out, refrain from mortally injuring them. Am I clear? Hi. This will have to go as smoothly as possible. One team of A and B will be with my team to provide backup. After Naruto finished giving out instructions, he turned around and walked off towards his team. Get ready, guys. This will be a mission you will never forget. Imprint these memories in your mind, because tonight we are not Team Alpha or Ino or Naruto or Tenten or Neji. Tonight, we are shinobis of Konoha. Nothing less and certainly nothing more, Naruto declared in his most serious voice, getting nods from his comrades. Midnight, Crop Village gates. The same guard who encountered Team Alpha last night was on the duty. This time he was standing while struggling to stay awake. Maybe tomorrow Himura-sama will reward me for my hard work and guard duty, he thought happily, missing the shadow of shinobi coming from behind. Yes, maybe he will give me a... Before he could think anything more, his world blurred and his mind went blank, courtesy of a chop to the neck. As soon as the guard went down, the 50 Root operatives rushed inside the village. In blink of an eye, everything was back to normal again, excluding an unconscious guard on the ground. Naruto moved along with his team towards the mansion of their target at neck-breaking speed without a faintest sound. The Root was performing well, as all the guards and patrolling shinobi were no longer there. Naruto would make sure to praise the shinobis after the mission. They entered the mansion via a window. Once inside, Naruto ordered Neji to go look for the guards posted inside the mansion. Ino went to free the enslaved women in the basement along with Tenten as her backup. Naruto turned towards a nearby room and found it to be servants' quarters. He quietly entered the room and grabbed a servant with his collar. The servant woke up with a start and started to sputter nonsense. Hush, shut up. Naruto scolded the servant like a child to help him control his nerves. What? Where? Who? The servant babbled, still confused. Why am I the only one to get stuck with idiots? All right, let's try this. Tell me, where's the room of your master Himura-sake? Naruto asked in a whisper. Say second floor. L last one with D double doors. The servant answered nervously. Good. Thanks for cooperation, Naruto stated, before casting a genjutsu on the servant to make him forget about the talk. He quickly exited the servant quarters and found his backup Root team standing outside, waiting for him. Namikaze-sama, we are here to assist you in any way possible, the one in front declared. All right, stay in the shadows and only come out when needed, ordered Naruto before the ANBUs vanished. All right, here we go, Naruto mumbled as he took off towards the staircase for the second floor. After reaching the second floor, he moved forward with his back pressed against the walls. After walking for a while, he spotted a set of double doors at the end of the corridors. He quickly reached the doors but found them locked from the inside. Shit. Now I can't get inside without busting through these doors, which will surely warn the bastard and his bodyguards, thought Naruto, cursing mentally. No choice. I'll have to do this, thought Naruto before bringing out his left A ball of clue chakra formed in the palm of his hand. He used the raising gan to grind the doors away. Boom! The doors flew back from their hinges and fell back inside the room. Few seconds ago inside the room, Himura Senkei was sleeping peacefully in his king-sized bed, dreaming about his celebrations for tomorrow. Suddenly, his bedroom's door came flying down on the floor. He was instantly surrounded by his guards with weapons drawn, ready to protect him on a moment's notice. From the cloud of dust, a blue sphere of light could be seen. Suddenly, a solitude of a young man became visible in the middle of the dust cloud. "You must be Himuru Senkei if I am not in the wrong room, right?" came a young male voice. Senkei strained his to look inside the dust cloud to recognize the intruder. "Who are you, and how dare you barge inside my mansion?" asked Senkei. Suddenly, the intruder shifted his haori and the dust flew back, revealing the intruder for the dictator and his guards to see. The look on Senkei's face turned from anger and confusion to one of fear. He quickly backed away from Naruto and pressed his back to the head of his bed. "Wyo Yandame H. Hokage," whispered a trembling Senkei, who was now scared shitless. His bodyguards were now sweating from fear as well. None of them knew that they will have to face the legendary Yandame Hokage of Konoha in this job. Naruto's grin only turned into a smirk. "So, at least you do recognize Konoha shinobis. That's good. What do you want from me?" asked Senkei. "You don't know?" Naruto asked back. "And no, I haven't done anything to Konoha," Senkei claimed. Naruto's smirk turned into a frown. He leaked his killing intent in the room and raised his chakra a little higher. The effects were instantaneous, as Senkei pissed himself. Even if he was an A-ranked shinobi, bordering S-rank, but even he was nothing compared to Namikaze Minato. His bodyguards were on their knees, gasping for breath. The Root ANBUs in the shadows were sweating as well. Their new commander could really be intimidating if he wanted to. Naruto finally spoke. "I am here to return something which belongs to you." He took out a scroll and unsealed the item sealed inside it. Senkei's eyes grew wide. Naruto was holding his son Kudo's head in his hands. "This guy said that you were his father and will make me pay for doing this to him," said Naruto as he threw the bodiless head of Kudo on Senkei's feet. Senkei fell to his knees and started to cry. His sorrow soon turned into anger and he jumped to his feet. "Kill him now," he shouted at his guards. Before his guards could even blink in response, 5 ENBU fell from the ceiling and killed them in a span of a second. Naruto didn't even blink, which signaled Senkei that these ANB were his comrades. "RH, Yandame or not, I will kill you myself for this," roared the dictator as he started forming hand seals at a fast pace. Suion, Mizurappa no Jutsu, water style, great water breakthrough. A wave of water rushed towards Naruto and the ANBU. The ANBU quickly raced through hand seals and announced in perfect harmony. Doton, Doria Hiki, earth style, earth wall. An earth wall rose up to defend them from the roaring water. Naruto decided to end this fight quickly and jumped over the Doton Jutsu while extending his arm towards Senkei and his Suiton Jutsu. Shinra Tensei. Wham! The Suiton Jutsu turned around and made contact with a surprised Senkei and threw him back into a wall. He groaned and tried to stand back up, but found himself unable to stand. It was like his body weight was suddenly tripled. He turned his head around and saw Naruto standing there with his hands still pointing towards him. On a closer look, he saw that Naruto's eyes were glowing metallic purple now. He growled and used all of his strength to lift himself up from the ground. On seeing him struggle so much, Naruto decided to let him stand and removed his added gravity from him. As soon as the extra weight was lifted, Senkei sprang in action and ran towards Naruto with his fist coated in chakra. Reaching Naruto, he swung his fist with all his might towards Naruto's face. Naruto didn't even blink, which helped boost Senkei's confidence in his inhuman speed. But as soon as his fist came within an inch of Naruto's face, an unknown force attacked him, and he found himself flying through air back towards the wall. Senkei noted that Naruto had his palm facing towards him. He was ready to collide with the wall when suddenly Naruto turned his left hand so that the back of his hand was facing Senkei. Banshoden. Senkei's eyes grew wide as he found himself flying back towards Naruto at binding speed. Suddenly, a black-gray rod dropped from Naruto's sleeves in his right hand. Senkei came flying in Naruto's hands, and Naruto wasted no time in impaling him on the rod. Senkei coughed up blood and his eyes started to lose their shine. "Ah, so much for the end of the king of this village," Senkei groaned, counting his last breaths. "Out of mercy, I will make your death quick," said Naruto. He placed his hand on Senkei's head, ready to pull his soul out. "Oh, and just so you know, I am not Namikaze Minato, my father. I am Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto." And he pulled his hand back. Senkei went limp as his soul was pulled out of his body. Naruto turned towards the A&B behind him and smiled. So, mission accomplished, I guess. Next day, outside the mansion, everyone in the village was gathered in front of the mansion of their dictator. There was whispers and murmuring going among the villagers regarding the new king. Suddenly, the shinobi stationed in front of the gates of the mansion shouted, "All hail, Hemura-sama." Still, there was little noise made by the public. The gates of the main balcony opened and everyone tried to peep inside. They were expecting Hemuru along with his guards to walk out. Imagine their surprise when instead of 6 to 7 people, 20 or so Konoha A and B walked out from either side of the gates. Even the shinobi population was shocked. They were expecting their dictator to come out, not Konoha A and B's. When the murmurs started again, an A and B walked forward and announced, "Konoha's A and B commander Namikaze-sama is arriving." This made everyone to stop their talking and look towards the gates. A single figure walked out of the mansion in the balcony. Golden sun-kissed blonde hairs, with the looks of the late Yondaime Hokage. He was wearing a Konoha's standard jonin vest with black shirt under it with A&B pants. He also had an orange haori with black flames at the bottom. "Hello everyone, I am Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, Konoha's A&B commander." With the orders of Godame Hokage Shinji Tsunade, Konoha performed a military operation yesterday in your village at midnight. Everyone started to whisper among them. Our target was Hemura Sake. I won't go into details for the security reasons, but I will tell you this. The mission was a success. I personally handled Sake, and he won't be seen in the land of living anymore. Everyone started to cheer at this. They were happy that their dictator was dead and now they were free. Naruto smiled, but continued. But as the situation has changed, your village is leaderless and an easy target for attacks from other village shinobis. Kanahagakure no Sato has offered to take the crop village under our protection. Your shinobi will be treated as Konoha's shinobi. Your civilians will be considered Konoha citizens. You will be given land in Konoha to rebuild your village there. On the behalf of Godame Hokage and Konoha, I invite you to join the greatest hidden village of elemental nations. The crowd cheered for Naruto as they were now fully safe with a village like Konoha backing them. No one will dare attack them. Not anymore. Oh, almost forgot. We Konoha shinobi respect women and thus, here are the women abducted by Sake. Naruto added when the mansion's gates opened and abducted women were united with their families. Naruto couldn't help but smile as he thought, I finally did something important. To-san, Ka-san, I hope you are proud of me. I promise this will not be the last of it. Databeo. Chapter 10. My apologies, my lord, but Hokage-sama has requested your immediate presence in her office, sir, said the A&B kneeling in front of Naruto. Squad Alpha was returning from their secret S-rank mission in the crop village. The performance of Root A&B operatives had pleased Naruto quite a bit on the mission. According to him, the Root performed outstanding, not perfectly, but they came damn close. Danzo may be an old bag of bones in Naruto's eyes, but he sure as hell knew how to train a powerful shinobi. Said operatives were back in their secret base outside the village walls, training and waiting for any orders from Naruto. Naruto's expression remained emotionless. What is it about? Is it something Kakashi-sensei did? Asked Naruto. Ino and Tintin couldn't help but snigger at this. Even Niji gave a small smile. No, my lord, Kakashi-senpai performed your duties perfectly. It's something that only Hokage-sama will be able to tell you, answered the Anbyo. Naruto turned towards his team and observed them for a moment. Niji was perfectly fine, whereas Tintin was only a little short on weapons, nothing else. As for Ino, she may have lost a couple of hair strands. Nothing to worry about there. All right, team. It seems Bachan wants to discuss something important with us. I am afraid we'll have to go full speed or, on second thought, let me use Hiroshin and we'll be in her office in a flash, chimed Naruto. Everyone nodded and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Even the tired A&B messenger stood to take the shortcut back to the village. Naruto closed his eyes and spread out his senses. Soon he found the hidden Hiroshin kunai in Tsunade's office and started to concentrate on it. Yellow lightning started to spark around him. In a yellow flash, they were gone from the forest floor. At the same time, somewhere outside Takigakure, in a dark cave, the cave was filled with darkness and a moist smell of a water body nearby. The sound of dripping water echoed throughout the cave. A large boulder blocked the entrance of the cave so that not even a single ray of light could enter it. In the middle of the space, a statue was sitting. The statue had its hands spread out with palms facing upwards. There were strange earrings present in the long ears of the statue. 10 tails were protruding out of its back, shrouding the ceiling of the cave. The statue had a blindfold on with 9 closed eyes. Suddenly, one by one, holographic figures started shimmer on the statue's fingertips. A total of 9 figures now stood on the fingers of the statue. All of these figures wore the same black cloaks with red clouds. "Hey, you suckers. What's your mother doing tonight?" "Yeah," shouted a silver-haired man of average height, a scythe placed comfortably on his right shoulder while he had a cocky smirk plastered to his face. "Oh, the priest is here. You still alive, baboon?" answered blonde-haired man with high ponytail. And so they started to bicker with each other without stopping to look at the irritated faces of everyone else. A figure with metallic purple eyes and an aura of superiority started while ignoring the fighting dough. "The time has come, my colleagues, my comrades, and my subordinates. The hunt for the bijus is starting. We will capture all 9 bijus and use them to bring peace to this world of bloodshed and hatred. Our first prey resides in Sunagakure no Sato, the Godame Kazakage, Sabuko no Gara, Ichibi no Jinchuriki." All the other figures nodded when a figure with a long bang of blonde hair in front of his face turned towards his right and asked, "Sunagakure? Isn't that your former village Sasori-senpai, HN?" The hunched figure on his right gave no sign regarding his question and just gave a short reply. "It is," stated the newly identified Sasori in a gruffly voice. "Why the long face then, HN? You should be happy that the Kazakage is going to be hunted down by us," said the blonde figure, leaning towards Sasori. Before Sasori could say anything, the first figure interjected, "Deara, shut your mouth and listen. Sasori and you are the closest to Suna right now. Also, Sasori's knowledge of Suna's defense and the desert around it will be useful in the mission. That is why I am assigning you this mission. Your objective is to incapacitate and capture the Ichibi Jinchuriki alive. Your methods of doing so are your headache, not my concern." "Hi, Leader-sama, but where should we deliver the Kazakage?" asked Sasori. The leader, after giving it a thought, replied, "The Akatsuki hideout situated in the west of Kaze no Kuni." "Understood," was the reply of the blonde man named Deidara. "Remember, after this, Suna should fear the red cloud cloaks of Akatsuki more than the Ichibi itself," ordered the leader. The duo nodded and shimmered away. The leader now turned towards the remaining figures and ordered, "While those two take care of Ichibi no Tanuki, Kakuzu, take care of the financial progress of our bounty hunts." Another figure with green pupils and red eyes nodded. "Itachi, take care of the matter regarding the whereabouts of all other Jinchuriki. Zetsu will take care of the Kyubi Jinchuriki's position." Dismissed. All the figures started disappearing one by one until only 3 figures remained. The only female of the group turned towards the leader and said, "Pain, this condition regarding the Kyubi Jinchuriki's sudden disappearance 3 years ago is concerning. We must locate him soon, otherwise all our labor in capturing other 8 bijus will be in vain. I hope you know what you are doing." Pain, the leader, turned around and faced the female. "Conan, I am doing what dash." Before he could complete his sentence, a swirl appeared on the head of the statue, revealing another Akatsuki member with an orange mask with a hole in it for the right eye. "Conan, Conan, Conan, my dear angel, don't question the decisions made by Pain and me," said the newcomer. This made Conan frown a little, but she quickly composed herself. The statement didn't sit well with Pain, though. "I have given her the right to question any decision made by me, Madara," stated Pain emotionlessly. This statements made between the 3 people started a glaring contest between them, which made the 4th Akatsuki member to chuckle. Now, no need to get angry at each other. I think I should leave now before you 3 pounce me," said white half of the Zetsu. "That would be the best course of action for us. At least for now," added the black half as he started to sink in the ground. "Just start doing what you are supposed to do. I won't tolerate any delays, you know that, Pain. I will meet you later when I feel the need to." And with that, Madara was sucked in another swirl, leaving no sign of him ever being present. "You shouldn't have taken my side, Pain," stated Conan while observing Pain closely. "I did what I judged to be right, nothing else. Now come, we must return back to aim," said Pain, without making eye contact with his partner. Moreover, with that, the last 2 figures in the cave vanished. Konohagakure, Hokage Tower. Tsunade was massaging her temples as she waited for Squad Alpha to show up. From what she read in the reports sent by Naruto, the mission was a success and went smoothly. That was good for Konoha as they got rid of someone like Sake. They will also be receiving a significant boost in their military strength. The shinobis of Crop Village, though not as good as Konoha shinobis, were still trained seriously to protect their small village of farmers. Sometimes I think I should have just handed this damn hat to the Gaki. I am too young for this shit after all, thought a tense Tsunade. Suddenly a golden flash lit her room, and when her eyes adjusted themselves back for normal light, she saw the faces of Team Alpha and a sweating AMBU messenger. "Get your ass out of here now," ordered Tsunade, glaring at the AMBU who was about to take a seat in front of her. The AMBU quickly stumbled to his feet and shunshined away, but not before bowing to his village leader. Naruto stepped forward and asked, "So what do you need, Bachan?" Tsunade struggled to stop herself from punching Naruto through a wall for calling her that. After taking a long breath, she turned towards Naruto and faced Squad Alpha. First of all, congratulations on completing the S-rank mission. She congratulated the team of young ninjas. In response, Neji nodded, whereas the other 3 members of the team smiled. Now, for the reason why I called you on such a short notice, 3 days ago when you all left for your mission, we received reports of sightings of a duo wearing black cloaks with red clouds, stated Tsunade in her most serious tone. Naruto suddenly stiffened. The tension radiating from him was not surprising for anyone in the room. Naruto. Were the thoughts of all 3 females in the room? Where? Was the short question that escaped the lips of the young Jinchuriki. Border of Kaze no Kuni and Takigakure. Possible destination was theorized to be Sunagakure, replied Tsunade with a critical eye on Naruto's reaction. Nothing. No reaction. What the? Was the thought of Tsunade when suddenly Naruto spoke up. And what were the actions taken by Konoha in the regards of this matter? He asked. I understood the graveness of the situation right away, and that's why I deployed Team Beta to investigate and possibly take out this duo. Their last report arrived this morning, and according to which, they are still tracking the duo. You know they are not strong enough to fight Akatsuki, not a team of them, that's for sure, stated Naruto while his team gave him a look of confusion and hurt. Tsunade saw the looks and decided to have Naruto elaborate. What do you mean by not strong enough? She asked while crossing her fingers in front of her nose, her elbows resting on her desk. What I mean is that I know that my friends, here and on Team Beta, are all powerful shinobi of Konoha. No doubt about it. But every member of Akatsuki is a S-rank shinobi for a reason, and to top it off, they travel in pairs, exclaimed Naruto while turning to look out of the office window. Tsunade couldn't disagree with that. Naruto had a valid point, but still disregarding the abilities of her shinobis was not something she planned to do soon. So what? Should I just let them all stay in the village and do D-rank missions until you deem them powerful enough to face the likes of Akatsuki in the outer world? Huh, said Tsunade with an angry frown present on her face. Naruto gave no indication of replying, as his eyes remained focused on the village bustling with activities, more specifically on the happy and carefree expressions on all the villagers' faces. There was a lot going on in his mind: concern for Gaara, Team Beta, his own team and his village, anger on his own disability to help his friend when in need, and over everything else, Akatsuki. Sighing for the 100th time that day, Tsunade turned to address Team Alpha in front of him. You all are going to Suna tomorrow evening ASAP, but stay on alert as I may have to send you in the field as an early reinforcement for Team Beta. So, I suggest you go back to your places and try to relax as much as you can in just one day dash. I want an extended off for my squad after tomorrow's mission. I may have the stamina of an Uzumaki. They don't, interjected Naruto without turning to look at Hokage. All right, brat. You and your team will get your off after your next mission tomorrow, answered Tsunade as she tried to continue where she left off. I don't want a break. I can perform well under stress. They are in need of rest. I requested an off for them, stated Naruto without a care in the world. Tsunade's eyebrows started to twitch dangerously as she tried to calm her nerves down. Requested, you say? Sounded more like demanded to me, growled Tsunade as she struggled to control her temper from flaring. Naruto merely shrugged but turned to address his squad and smiled towards the 2 worried-looking females on it. Hey, Ino-chan, Ten-chan, I'll pick you at 7 this evening for our postponed date, if that's okay, he asked as his cheeks started to get a little red. Both the girls gave him a wired look before glancing at each other. Tsunade decided it was enough now and started to speak. Now, Naruto, I don't think it's a good idea dash. Yes, of course he. Thud. Everyone's attention was shifted to Neji as he fainted on the very spot he was standing for the last 10 minutes, a look of unreadable expression on his face while his cheeks had a dust of pink on them. What happened to him? Asked the other 3 members of Squad Alpha, which only made Tsunade to sweat drop. Get out. At the same time, with Team Beta, 2 figures in black cloaks with red clouds spotted, whispered Hinata as she informed her teammates about the discovery of their targets. Good. How far ahead? Asked Shikamaru as the gears in his brain started to function at lightning speed to start coming up with a plan suitable to their own abilities. About 1.5 miles ahead of us. They are moving at a slow pace, answered Hinata as she continued to focus ahead, her Byakugan blazing in the afternoon sunlight. Lee quickly started to tighten the white bandages around his wrists and fists as he heard about the close location of their enemy. Coming up with a strategy, Shikamaru turned to face Shino and started to give out his orders. All right, this is what we are going to do. Hinata will continue to keep an eye out for any traps they may have set, all the while keeping tabs on their instantaneous location. Shino, send some of your Kakachu to scout ahead and, if possible, eavesdrop on the conversation between the duo. It may provide us with valuable information, spoke Shikamaru in his leader mode before turning towards Lee. Lee, please refrain from shouting about youth or whatever comes to your mind. We have the element of surprise here, and I would like to keep it that way for as long as possible. He almost pleaded, to which Lee gave him an innocent and confused look before grinning from ear to ear. Do I get to at least use Konoha Senpu on them when we attack? Asked Lee as he lifted his right leg in the air, demonstrating the said technique. Yes, you may, but first, stay calm and let us do the reckoning while you stay silent, answered Shikamaru as he struggled to stop himself from face-palming. Seriously, how thankful he was to get Asuma as his sensei. He was sure that Hinata and Shino were lucky as well to get Kurenai, because Guy was just a hideous maniac who had a long-lasting maddening effect on his students, which left the famed Sharingan no Kakashi. Kakashi was the most powerful jonin of Konoha right now, but he was also the top ranker in the hit list of every woman of the village for his perversion, second only to Jiraiya-sama. Getting any of those two as his sensei was a part of his secret nightmare that he tried to ignore as much as possible. Both of them were best friends if what Asuma had told him was true. One was a lunatic, energetic, hideously dressing, eye-blinding, tooth-flashing, and bull-headed jonin, while the other one was a genius, lazy, face-masking, and stylishly dressing jonin with gravity-defying silver hair. The only thing common in them, from what he had gathered, was that both of them were slave drivers when it came to training genins. Shaking his head to get it out of the thoughts of lunatic and stylish pair of jonin, he struggled to keep his eyes open when Lee flashed him an eye-blinding grin, his teeth shining dangerously. What kind of hellish technique was that? Blind the shit out of your enemy no jutsu? Sighing, Shikamaru was pulled out of his thoughts when Shino suddenly stiffened. They have stopped, said Hinata as she continued to glance forward with concentration etched on her face. What is it, Shino? Asked Shikamaru as he gazed at his teammate's stiffened body. They know that we are following them, whispered Shino as he tried to overcome his shock. Eyes going wide, Shikamaru tried to comprehend the situation. How did they come to know of our presence? Every single one of us is suppressing our chakra, asked a confused Shikamaru, not expecting an answer from his teammates. Imagine his surprise when he got one. One of them is definitely an earth user and the other one is a moderate sensor. They detected my Kakachu when they were retreating back to me. The sudden shift of wind flow gave us out. I am sure they are standing there and waiting for us to come out, answered Shino as he gazed forwards at the two small figures visible on the horizon of a sand dune. Shit. We were exposed so easily. Hinata, check whether they have planted any kind of traps between there and our location? Asked Shikamaru as he tried to come up with a course of action in this sort of situation. Troublesome. Only if Naruto was here to fight with us. I could have thought up 100 scenarios to take them down with his help, thought Shikamaru as he struggled to find a single case of them coming out of this fight victorious. Their team was sent here as a scout team, nothing else, and to top it off, they were still struggling to start coordinating like a team. Sure, Hinata and Shino were experienced with working together, but without Kiba their normal combos and routine attacks won't work as nicely as expected. He was not ashamed to say this, that he was seriously wishing he had declined this mission and was watching clouds right now somewhere in Konoha. Fighting an A-ranked enemy, sure, he will take care of it. Take out an S-ranked enemy. With the help of his teammates, even he will be hard-pressed. He'll manage somehow. But facing two S-ranked international criminals with a newly formed team, you must be joking. He will have to try his hardest to even get them out of this situation alive. Shino, take out the backup scroll, send it to Hokage-sama and immediately request back in the form of Team Alpha. Only that team can help us handle a situation like this one, said Shikamaru, without removing his gaze from the duo of Akatsuki barely visible from their position. Shino barely nodded and unsealed a hawk out of a ceiling scroll. The hawk had a cloth tied around its neck with the emblem of Konoha shining in the middle. Shino quickly scribbled down the message of his leader and tied it around the leg of the hawk before requesting it to deliver the message to the Hokage as soon as possible. The hawk took of towards the general direction of the greatest shinobi village. With the Akatsuki duo, what's taking them so long, Sasori-senpai? I mean, we've made it clear that we are aware of their position, yet these lousy brats are taking too long for my liking. HN, complained Deidara as he glanced at the location of the shinobi team following them behind a desert bush. I think we must make our move first. I have waited long enough already, and we have to take out the Kazekage as well. I hate waiting, was the reply of Sasori as he turned to face the enemy shinobi team. Just as they were about to start moving towards the bushes, a hawk took off from behind the said vegetation. Narrowing his eyes at the blue-colored cloth tied around the hawk in the direction of the said messenger, Sasori immediately ordered Deidara. Deidara, take that hawk out. It's most likely carrying a message for backup request, and from Konoha no less. This can spell trouble for us, warned Sasori as Deidara opened his hand and a bunch of clay birds took off towards the speeding hawk. Just before the clay birds could reach the hawk and reduce it to ashes, a swamp of bugs came out of nowhere and captured the explosives, forcing the clay creatures to detonate on contact with them. In Aburame, I see, muttered Sasori as he started to move towards the no longer secret hiding spot of the Konoha team, closely followed by Deidara, who had his hands stuffed inside his pockets. Mindosuk, they are coming towards us. Get ready, everyone will have to fight for our survival here, warned/ordered Shikamaru as he steeled his resolve to stop daydreaming about lovely Cloud and focus on the problem at hand. All right, here we, said Shikamaru as he jumped out of their hiding spot, closely followed by his team. They landed in unison in front of the cloaked figures, weapons drawn. Refrain from using any of your larger creations. We are in a safeguarded region of the desert, and you'll only end up gaining the unneeded attention of nearby Suna posts, ordered Sasori as he expertly scanned the 4 figures in front of them. An Aburame, a Hyuga, 2 unknowns, all around the age of 16 to 18. Konoha sure is expert in planning team arrangements, thought Sasori as he planned to take the Hyuga and the spandex-wearing weirdo. I'll take the guy with the hood and that obvious leader. HN. Deidara perked up as his mouths on his hands chewed another set of explosives. Fine with me, but remember, just destroy them. We don't have all day, replied Sasori as his tail emerged from behind his body, shining in the sunlight like the deadly weapon it was. Deidara just grinned and slowly took out his left hand from his pockets, making the 4 Konoha neens to tense up. His hand revealed no weapon contrary to their expectations. Instead, he pointed 2 fingers towards Shino and Shikamaru. You two, prepare yourselves because you are going to experience the real art. Art is an explosion. HN. He shouted with clear excitement. Akatsuki or not, he was still from IWA, and anyone from IWA knew to hate the Konoha neens for what the Yondaime did in the Third Shinobi World War. Our Mad Bomber was no exception. Immediately small tiny mosquitoes made of clay started coming out of his outstretched hand. The source of these mosquitoes was the grinning mouth present on his hand, still chewing out the creatures of destruction. Shikamaru and Shino immediately sprang into action as the Aburame tried to fend off the attack using his bugs. His ministrations were not fruitful as only a single mosquito was enough to wreak havoc on the swarm of Kikeichu present. The only word that came to Shikamaru's mind at that point of time was troublesome. Katsu. Boom. I have yet to take the body of a Hyuga for my experiments. Come, child. Let me show you why you should interfere with the business of those stronger than you, said Sasori as the metal tail on his back reared backwards, only to strike forwards with blinding speed. Hinata was stuck with defending against the lightning-fast lethal strikes of that cursed tail as it came down at her abdomen at blinding speed and accuracy. Gathering chakra in her hands, Hinata readied herself for the oncoming impact of the tail. Luckily, before it could touch her, a shout was heard throughout the desert. Konoha Senpu. Lee appeared in front Hinata, his body in mid-rotation as he completed his technique perfectly by slamming his right foot in the side of the tail, deflecting the attack on his comrade. Landing on Hinata's side, Lee gave her a grin and quickly disappeared in a green blur, speeding towards the stumbling Sasori. Hinata gathered up her courage and shot forward, intending to help the taijutsu user in his attacks against the S-ranked criminal. Shikamaru quickly switched on his radio collar and locked eyes with Hinata, who was in the middle of deflecting Senbon needles shooting at Lee from Sasori's body. Shikamaru lightly tapped the radio collar on his neck and gave a sigh of relief when Hinata gave him a curt nod of understanding. He repeated the process with Shino and Lee, succeeding in establishing a connection between his team. All right, from now on, Dan will be used to represent the radio communication. Lee. Start deflecting the tail strikes aimed at Hinata and draw that guy near me. Ordered Shikamaru as he took out a shuriken from his utility pouch. Looking sideways towards Shino, he realized that Shino was having a lot of trouble tackling the explosive insects that the clay user was throwing towards them. Damn, we are at a disadvantage here. If I am right, then that blonde guy is using Doton manipulation to make those dangerous creatures. None of us have lightning affinity, and we seriously lack the knowledge to perform a right in jutsu, thought Shikamaru as he went over their options once again. He and Shino had Doton affinities, whereas Hinata had Suiton and Lee had none, which meant that they had no countermeasure to neutralize the explosives. Their only chance was to dodge the explosives and try to bid time. He is coming near you, Shikamaru. Do whatever you have in mind. Came the shout of Lee on the radio as Shikamaru looked up to see Lee flying towards with a bruise on his left arm, followed by that damn tail. Quickly relying on his reflexes, Shikamaru threw the shuriken at the tail. Sasori saw the shuriken coming at his tail at neck-breaking speed, but discarded it as nothing more than a desperate attempt to stop the tail from reducing them to mush. Just as he had deduced, the shuriken bounced off the tail on contact, but there was a problem. His tail was no longer obeying his command. Looking at the shinobi who had thrown the shuriken, Sasori saw him sitting on one knee with both of his hands in front of his face, forming a strange seal. Cage main success, whispered Shikamaru as he gave a tiny smirk. Sasori observed that the shadow of the ninja was stretched across the desert sand and connected with his tails. Anara, mused Sasori as he tried to somehow get his tail back under his control. Apparently, due to the lack of vegetation in the desert, there were absolutely no shadows around for Shikamaru to use as a linking road. That's why he had used that shuriken. Just as the shuriken was thrown, he had connected his shadow to that of the shurikens, which traveled all the way to the tails, giving him access to the required shadow possession jutsu's success. He was concentrating so hard on maintaining the jutsu that he missed the small glowing mosquito sitting on his shoulder. Lee saw this and moved to stop the incoming attack. Shikamaru, he shouted, but failed to reach him in time. On the side of the fight, Deidara smirked in the middle of his battle with Shino. Raising his right hand to his lips, he made a ram seal and with a twinkle in his eyes. Katsu, boom. Sand flew in all directions as the explosion rocked the desert. Every mosquito present in the area blew up with as much force as it could muster, resulting in a larger explosion which covered every shinobi present in the cloud of sand. As the cloud of dust started to settle, only two figures were standing, Deidara and Sasori. Walking forward, Deidara kicked an unconscious Shino in the side and chuckled to himself. Now his insects will never obey him, seeing how he sacrificed them without thinking twice. Grinned Deidara as took out a kunai to finish his opponent, but Sasori stopped him. I don't know if you can feel them or not, but there is a large group of Suna patrolling shinobi heading in our direction, thanks to your show just a minute ago, said Sasori as he turned to start walking in the direction of Suna. But at least let me kill them first, whined Deidara as he turned to give Sasori an irritated look. Leave them be, they will not interfere with our mission anymore. Besides, we don't want to attract a serious eye from any of the shinobi villages, let alone Konoha, answered Sasori as he continued to move forward. With a frown on his face, Deidara pocketed his kunai and gave the four lying forms of bleeding shinobi a once-over. Content with his handiwork, he gave a small grin and quickly turned around and caught up with his traveling companion. So what is the fighting style of the Godame Kazekage-ha? Any ideas? That evening, 6:55 p.m., Ino was currently sitting in front of her dressing mirror with an eyeliner in her delicate hands. Giving light strokes of the cosmetic, she was trying her best to look as hot as possible. Naruto will be arriving in a few minutes, and she wanted to gauge his reaction to her dating form. She was about to turn towards the drawer on her right when she heard the doorbell ring. Naruto's POV. Naruto was standing outside Ino's house as he tried to look as calm as possible, though inside he was sweating bullets. Shit, I knew it. I should have postponed this date. Curse you, author. Taking a deep breath, he calmed himself down and raised his hand to ring the doorbell, stopping just before touching the cold bell switch. Come on, Naruto. You are a freaking Namikaze, for Christ's sake. People piss in their pants just from hearing that name. Grow a backbone. To think I have another girl to pick after this. Curse you to hell, you damn author. Finally gathering enough courage to gain somewhat shaky control of his nerves, Naruto finally pressed his finger forward. Ting tong. Naruto nearly jumped out of his skin from just hearing the bell ring. Only this time, he was literally sweating bullets. Naruto, I don't think the Yondaime would have been proud of this behavior of yours. Try acting like that idiotic self of yours from old days. Vixens really like guys making jokes, said Kurama's annoyed voice from within his head. Oh yeah? If I may ask, how do you know so much about girls? Shot back Naruto as he tried to look as normal as possible from the outside. How many times have I told you? I was sealed in that hot-headed mother of yours for nearly a quarter of a century. I know how SG worked, so I think I have plenty of experience with your normal girls. Growled Kyubi as it tried to get its container to start acting like the Jinchuriki of Kyubi he was. Before Naruto could come back with a reply to that statement, the door in front of his face opened to reveal a narrow-eyed Yamanaka Inoichi. Inoichi gave the blonde a once-over before gaining a confused look. What are you doing here, Namikaze Dano? He asked while still staring at him quizzically, making the blonde gulp audibly. Shit, kind of. stuttered Naruto as he tried to come up with a respectful answer for the question. Inoichi inwardly smirked as he saw the powerful shinobi reduced to a spluttering mess in front of his front door without him even using any of his mind tricks. "Are you trying to educate me in conversation starters?" asked Inoichi while giving the blonde a heated look. "What? No, no, no. I was just saying that I am here. Todokino wa Tanadate." There, he said it. Now the threats will start to shoot him. "What was that, young man? I didn't catch you there," asked a woman coming out from behind the door with a knowing smile on her face. This woman was looking like an exact replica of Ino, just a little older in age. In fact, she could be easily mistaken for Ino's older sister. Naruto was just staring at the woman in awe. He was so mesmerized in her beauty that he missed the irritated look Inoichi gave him and blurted out the last of his sentence again. "I am here to take Ino out on a date," said Naruto while still looking at the obvious wife of the Yamanaka clan head. Ino's mother started to giggle while pulling Inoichi backwards to clear her path, where poor Inoichi landed on the floor on his butt. She walked forward and observed Naruto with interest for a while. Finally, she gave him a warm smile and said, "You look just like Minato, same oceanic blue eyes, golden blonde hair, and that heartwarming grin. Though it is kind of a mixture of his and Kushina's, but I am sure you are as handsome if not more than your father." Naruto blushed in embarrassment and scratched his head with that same grin the woman in front of him mentioned. "Come on in. Ino will be down to join you in a minute," she said, and nearly pulled him inside. Stumbling a little, Naruto regained his balance and gave her a grateful smile. Soon he was sitting on the couch opposite to a glaring Inoichi as the said man was mouthing dangerous threats directed at him. Naruto was no expert at lip reading without his Sharingan, but even he was sure that the said threats were mentioning Naruto Jr. again and again, making him shrunk inside his Haori. Naruto was wearing a black skin-tight t-shirt and gray Anbu-style armor and pants under beneath. His blue Haori was replaced by a red one, which had large white flames designed on the lower part. He had actually tried to comb his hair, but there was little difference visible as his wild, untamed hairs were still going in every direction possible. After a wait of 2 minutes, which was more like a lifetime to Naruto, Ino came down from her room and settled her gaze on the blonde waiting for her. Naruto was openly gaping like a fish. He drank the form of Ino in her dazzling clothes. Ino was wearing a black dress, which was a backless and shoulderless black dress with a loop going around her neck. The dress reached her mid-thigh, and Naruto was finding it hard to focus on her face when her long legs and cleavage were being so distracting body parts. Finally getting his head out of the gutter, with a lot of struggle, he offered her his hand, which she eagerly accepted. Once they were out on the street, Naruto quickly made a beeline towards Tenten's house, as he wanted to pick her up as soon as possible. Luckily, this time Ino was with him to help him gather the courage, and thus after 10 minutes, we find the trio walking in the calm and peaceful night of Hino Kuni as they reached the restaurant, Seedlings. Tenten was wearing a knee-length pink kimono, which had a floral print on it. Her hair were in their usual buns, making her look cute as always. As they entered the establishment, the manager came running towards them and bowed deeply in front of Naruto. "Rokudame-sama, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Where can I get you and your ladies a table?" he asked with a smile on his face as everyone present in the restaurant turned their heads to glance towards the trio. Soon whispers started about who were the two women with the Namike-sama and what were they doing here. Naruto just stared at the people around the restaurant and decided to answer the manager's question. "I would like to have a table away from all this crowd. You wouldn't happen to have a rooftop cafe, do you?" The manager just flashed him a smile and motioned them to follow him, which they were more than happy to do. The manager led them to the 3rd floor of the restaurant, which was an open-air roof cafe with large tables. Luckily, all of them were empty for them to choose. Naruto decided to allow the ladies to choose and ended up sitting in the middle table with candles shining all around them. They made a little talk and soon received their menus. Naruto, of course, ordered ramen, whereas Tenten ordered some buns for herself. Ino decided to go with dango and ordered the same. "So Naruto, what are your plans regarding dating?" asked Ino as she was sitting on his right, opposite to Tenten, who was on his left. "I don't know. Bachan told me that I have to marry at least 5 girls before I reach the age of 20, so I guess I will be going on a lot of dates, willingly or unwillingly. I have to restore both Uzumaki and Namike's clans after all," answered Naruto as he gave her a grin, causing her to blush a little. "So, tell me, if you were the last male of both the clans, how are you going to restore both clans separately?" asked Tenten as their orders arrived on their table, courtesy of 3 different waiters. Taking a whiff of his ramen, Naruto grinned at the perfect smell and turned to face Tenten. "I think Bachan said something about having 5 wives for each clan or something along those lines. It's not official yet, So I guess they will twist it a bit before making it official, answered Naruto, as Tenten grew wide-eyed. 5 wives for each clan, which meant Naruto will be marrying at least 10 girls in near future. Ino, on the other hand, was still busy getting star-eyed on seeing Naruto's toothy grin. Somehow, they finished their meal with minimal surprises and decided to take a large ice cream pudding as the dessert. Finishing their meals, they were waiting for the bill when suddenly Ino asked, "Naruto-kun, why did you ask us out on a date? I mean, it's not like I am complaining or anything, but why us?" She had a rather cute, confused look on her face with her eyebrows furrowed. Naruto stared at both the girls for a while and tilted his a little. "Why shouldn't I? You are 2 of the only girls I know who are of my age group other than you. I only considered Hinata, and that too is still undecided. I may be popular with my heritage's revelation and my newly acquired Dojutsu, but I still want to find my life partners and my friends. Other than you 3, I only know Bachan, Shizune, Ayam-chan, Kurenai Sensei, and that crazy-ass snack woman. So I ask you, why not?" Before the 2 girls could answer the question, their attention was drawn to the hawk circling above their heads in the night sky. It seemed Shikamaru got himself in some trouble, that lazy-ass Nara. "Let's go, beauties," exclaimed Naruto as he disappeared along with the 2 blushing girls, a plenty of cash waiting for the bill on the table. That's the end for now. I hope you enjoyed this and goodbye.